Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Josh's Spring Showdown tournament. I am Delthius, and joining me on the desk today, we've got AV Ultima. What's going on, man?
Hey, dude, I'm ready to get going with this.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So far, I haven't heard from Frog and Vix, unfortunately, so I might have to pull an audible here and get somebody else going for the first round if they haven't started already.
No, all right. Hopefully they show up.
Let me take a look. How's it going, everybody? Sorry about that, just messaging some people, seeing if they're in game already to kick off the tournament. But I guess while we wait, we can look a little bit at the bracket here. We've got Classic Metal, which is cool. I don't think I've seen him in an event lately. He was in a lot of them earlier on. He was in a lot of Clash of Comrades stuff late last year, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. He tends to play in a lot of the tournaments. And he's been playing for a while, too. So it's awesome to see that a player that's been playing for maybe almost 2 years now or even more is still going at it.
Oh, he's from the Alpha days, huh?
Oh yeah, definitely. He has yet to take a tournament, but, you know, maybe one day.
Sweet. Well, I think we got to figure it out, guys, to get this started for you. We're going to start with Scarecrow's matches. I'm kind of coordinating that right now. I apologize, guys. Give me just a second. Kind of butchered my way through Photoshop last night, man, and figured out how to make a little scoreboard. I'm okay with it. I think the color palette's a little off, though. I think the light blue might be too much.
Oh, I should check out the stream and look at it then. Is it up right now?
Yeah, it should be. I'm looking at the stream since it's on a little bit of delay. It's still my web browser, but it should be back up there in a second. While we're waiting, guys, let us know how the audio sounds. Sometimes this happens with tournaments, man. People showing up late, or maybe they forgot about it or something. It's been on the docket for a while, and you know, you might have signed up a couple of weeks ago or something, and we're just like, oh crap, it's right now, you know. And plus the Google Doc says 12:30 EST, so I hope that's not one of the issues.
Oh yeah, we learned that maybe a couple days ago that the Eastern time was set 1 hour ahead, at least in the Google Doc. I think it's fine on the bracket site though.
Yeah, it's correct on the bracket site. Now, I think Scarecrow said his opponent hasn't checked in yet. We're off to a great start.
This will happen. I don't think this gone any better.
Yeah,
especially
right?
for a Josh tournament. So I think this is happening perfectly.
Oh yeah, this is going according to plan, guys. Traditional 1 out of 3 didn't check in. 7 out of 11 checked in. Oh, there it is. Athena. Okay.
Is the bracket set to remove people automatically, or does the admin have to? Oh, okay. I see. It has updated.
Okay. So we are working on it, guys. Okay. So Athena is on her way. In-game name Asva. So once she had a computer crash, so once she gets that situated and gets back in the room, we'll get started here. But now she's not playing against Scarecrow anymore. Avi.
Oh man. Every wrench is being thrown.
DJ, hang on, I'm trying to. Is now playing Scarecrow.
This hardens us for the better.
Yeah, we're getting there. So I almost had it organized, guys. Athena's computer crashed. She's on her way, but the people that didn't show up this morning, Josh updated the bracket to get them knocked out of the tournament. And then now it changed, and now Scarecrow's playing DJ Orana. Oh god, did it change again? He just said reload the bracket. I just did. No, yeah, I did. Okay. All right. Sorry about this, guys. You gotta keep the, you gotta entertain the troops for me, Ultima.
When do they actually start banning the units? Have they already done that, or is that going to be done through the chat?
So I think they do that in Discord and private messages. I was asking them to like let us know what they chose, so we could talk about it on the stream. But I believe the bans, like they set up, they each choose 3 bans right at the beginning, and then those 3 bans per player, it's for the whole 2 out of 3. So if you ban Squirrel, Lizard, Mole, those units are banned for all 3 matches.
Ah, the entire set. I see. Do they take turns banning them?
That I'm not sure of. I think people were asking about that earlier, and I think it's just up to however you want to do it.
See, okay. It'd be funny if they just blind ban and they both players happen to ban the same 3 units.
Right?
That seems unlikely, but definitely a possibility.
All right, Darius, you're not in this match, I don't think. We're waiting on D. Jorana. I messaged, I believe, her on Discord. So,
It's Darius versus Asfa, right?
no, you got to update your scoreboard.
Oh.
Yeah, it should be D. Jorana, I believe,
Versus Scarecrow. Okay,
Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
All right, we're doing the number 2 match.
Yep. She's in Tooth and Tail. I'm thinking it's a T. Oh no, I think. Okay, they're explaining it to her. I think she's trying to figure out how to join a match with a password. No problem, guys. We're almost there. We're off to a great start. Hey, we're not super far behind. I mean, the tournament started at 11:30. There we go. We're gonna get started here about 11:40. So. Okay, let me see. Scarecrow is... Okay.
Don't worry, we'll fire one of our producers. We'll get someone in next tournament to run the show. Don't worry.
What are you trying to say, Ultima? Dude, you know what, man? Next time we do this, I would be so down to let you stream it, and I'll just be the guy sitting in Discord, man.
No, I like the work being done by others.
Okay, so Scarecrow's typing to me now. I think him and D. Jorana are getting started with some bans. I believe D. Jorana and Asva both kind of joined last second, so that was really cool to see. Pretty good first round, though. Interested to see guys like Scarecrow's a name I remember from a few months ago in tournaments, right?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, and I think Fermar, but I'm not sure.
Oh, Fermar has always been around, man. He plays a lot of multiplayer games. Premium Bo and him play a lot of 2v2s and submit a lot of replays in my show. Okay, so Scarecrow here banned Fox, Ferret, and Drumfire. Can you mind typing that out in the Twitch chat for us, AV?
Sure.
And I'm assuming D. Jorana is a female, so if I'm wrong about that, I apologize. But now I'm waiting to see what she bans. So Scarecrow's got, Fox, Ferret, and Drumfire. Interesting. Now, Fox is pretty strong right now. You know, as much as I try not to say anything crazy about balance, man, like, it seems really difficult. I was playing a lot against Swifty the other night where we were just going back and forth, and like a fast Fox rush, you know, taken correctly is very difficult to deal with. So I could definitely understand that ban for sure.
Yeah, definitely in like a tier 2 heavy meta, especially with Falcons being really important, and definitely Ferrets. Fox becomes really good because she one-hits most of those units.
Okay, so type this one out too if you don't mind, Ultima.
Definitely.
D. Jorana banned Owl, Lizard, and Snake. Alright, we're getting into it, guys. Okay, a little bit of lag at the beginning, but no problem. Spawning in the 5 o'clock, we've got D. Jorana and her opponent in the 11 o'clock, Scarecrow. So, alright, so what were all the units that were banned again?
Scarecrow banned Fox, Ferret, and Drumfire. DJ banned Owl, Lizard, and Snake.
Ooh. Okay.
Seems like the players have done that right. Yeah, nice.
So I actually like the deck compositions out of both these guys a lot, considering those bans, right? I mean, basically they decided you're really kind of left with, for really viable tier 3 late game options in that situation, like Badger, Pigeon, or Boar, right? So they both decided to go for that Badger Pigeon.
Yeah, very well thought out. I'm actually surprised that neither player banned mines and neither of them went for it.
Yeah.
So it looks like they might have a plan for the barbed wire here. It's interesting they both took barbed wire. I guess knowing that, I guess knowing that lizard was banned, they knew, obviously they got to go squirrels, so they picked the barbed wire to combat each other.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. And Scarecrow even picked up the chameleon. I'm not sure if he just likes the chameleon in general or if he was really thinking, if she's got barbed wire, I've got something to deal with it. But I'm not so sure. But so far, Scarecrow putting up a little bit of an aggressive posture here, going for a couple fast warrens. Do you think he's going to try to attack or?
Most likely, he has that high ground right next to DJ's base. So, and it looks like DJ's expanding to a campfire over here and not at his base and out of position. So he's going to get some farms pretty easily here.
Yeah, the squirrels are in the back, and Hopper gets back just in time to try to help out, but one pig going down already, and I kind of feel bad for Deidreana, to be perfectly honest here, man, because it's always so, I mean, look at her spawn, right? Like, she can't put any warrens in the front line to guard the pigs, right? And then she's got that high ground right outside her base, so kind of a double whammy. And Scarecrow really took advantage of that with a nice push.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation to be in, especially at this early stage in the game. Commanders have such low HP. If you're not careful and you got to spot the high ground with it, you can easily die with Commander, and then there's just free reign from the high ground.
Yeah, and to make matters even worse, she can't even really put anything up here, right? Because the gristmill, is not going to allow you to build any buildings around it besides farms, obviously. But Scarecrow coming in again for more damage, wanting to take that gristmill to help him tank and buffer some shots, but doesn't really find the damage he was looking for that time. Did he get that pig? I think so, right?
He did.
Okay, yeah, one pig's not too bad, so.
I think what DJ has going for her is the defender's advantage a bit, is because Scarecrow has to march his units so far across the map. But right now, he's getting his tier 2 and he has pigeons. He's just sort of running away with it, but keep in mind that DJ has these 2 campfires that could put her ahead in eco and just help her out macro Scarecrow, especially if he doesn't put up an attack breeze.
Yeah, if you look at the income graphs here, I mean, after taking all that damage, Deidreana is still in a decent spot economically, and I like the idea of taking this nice little safe pocket base in the back, but I really might have preferred taking the base on the high ground there just to kind of claim that territory a little bit, but it would have been very risky, and... Go ahead.
I think if anything, DJ wanted that pocket base for more build space. I think if she did take the upfront one, she would have had to have put her Warrens right up front, which I guess, considering Warren taking, could have been a good idea, but I think she just wanted to be as safe as possible. Yeah,
that's actually a really good point, man. I feel really bad for Deidreana in this game, man. Just every bad roll of the dice with this map RG. I guess the one thing that she's got going for her here are the 2 bases that are in close proximity to her main. But yeah, I didn't think about that. You're right. If she did take this forward gristmill here, then all the Warrens would have had to be right in this no man's land, right where the front line of the battle is going to be. So.
This is a pretty gutsy play, going for the Badger in the back alongside getting additional eco. If Scarecrow were to attack right now, he could be in a good position to take it, but I think DJ just might be in a really good choke point position, so Scarecrow might be a little scared to go attack.
Yeah, Scarecrow actually opted to get his own fast tier 3, which is pretty awesome. Kind of parallel thinking there out of our players here. Both not with any scouting information, but both just kind of opted to go for that at the same time. And nice little cleanup by Scarecrow, knocking out that campfire. I mean, it definitely paid for itself for Deidreana here, so.
Given the opportunity, I'd like to see her head over to the eastern base and take that at some point, because I don't think Scarecrow is... Yeah, Scarecrow hasn't even scouted that yet. I assume he might feel an inkling that there's something could be there, but it's always good to scout.
Yeah, especially with all that water around it and the vision that DJ has with the campfire, probably be able to spot Scarecrow. And this is where it kind of gets interesting, man. You got to really stay on top of your enemy commander's movements, you know, and make sure they're not trying to do anything like run around. Like, look over here where Hopper is at the moment. You know, this is exposed. You know, imagine if Scarecrow swung around, did a flank attack over there while DiGiorano was out of position, right?
Yeah, right now it's a bit of an awkward position, as you said, through the water to go from the left side of her base to the right. So if at any point one of them's caught out, could spell doom, really.
Yeah, the Badgers are basically here now, and this is kind of what both these players have been waiting for. I mean, they're taking their time, they're being safe, they're playing a macro game here, which you can't blame them for, because when we get to these kind of quote-unquote death ball style armies, you know, one big engagement can really change the whole thing, but DiGiorano's ready to go in right now. Let's see how well she can take this engagement, trying to focus fire down the Badger of her opponent. She does get it, but loses her Badger in the process, and most of the rest of her army as well, and Scarecrow takes a very dominating fight there.
I might have... Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, GG's out. I might have missed what happened to the other army, but it looked like she was holding down the entire button and dragged her entire army through instead of just microing the Badger.
Yeah, that... Oh, man, if that's what happened, that is unfortunate, because she was in a great spot, man.
Yeah, and I think she was up on Falcons, too, so I was surprised she lost that fight, but...
Okay, now if
work on Scarecrow.
If I understand the rules correctly, the same bans apply for the rest of the games here, so... we've got that Fox, Ferret, Drumfire, Owl, Lizard, and Snake are not allowed to be selected by either player here. Yeah, and I think that was just a little bit of a mistake, like you said, Ultima, man, just dragging the whole army through. But otherwise, great play out of DiGiorano and Scarecrow.
Yeah, I think it would have been better for DJ not to even kill the Badger, because what ended up happening is that they just traded, and that really doesn't do anything. Probably would have been better to micro and just try to pick up units from the front.
Well, here we go, guys. Game number 2. Spawning in the 12 o'clock position, up 1 point in this best-of-3 series, we've got Scarecrow. And his opponent in the south, needing to win a game here to keep the winner's bracket hopes alive, we've got DiGiorano. Now, this is a double elimination tournament, guys, so if DiGiorano does lose here, she'll be able to continue to play in the loser's bracket and try to climb the way back. And what we plan on doing for the sake of time... Oh, actually, hold that thought, Ultima, because we got these mines you were talking about coming out right now from Scarecrow.
Yeah, and in case you guys don't know, what these mines do is that it blocks the pig from... Well, it doesn't block the pig. If the pig spawns and walks into them, it's going to die. So it sort of delays the 8th farm for a bit. But what some players opt to do is to grab an early campfire to sort of mitigate that. Or is what DJ is doing right now, is building an early warren and is just going to melt one unit for 2 mines.
Yeah, and ideally, at this point, Scarecrow wants to come back and sell these off. These mines have prevented that 8 farm start, like you mentioned, and then they also really gave Scarecrow a lot of intel on what DiGiorano's opening build is here, but instead he allows them to stay, which is going to let DiGiorano get just a slight amount of value if she can micro this one squirrel into taking out both those mines. But man, I hope she's aware of these mines here, AV Ultima, because she hasn't taken them out yet, and I don't think she knows.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, huh.
Well,
I guess she was away at base when he put them down and never saw them go up.
Yeah, she was out scouting and then took that campfire. Oh no, these squirrels! Okay, not the worst thing in the world.
Was that 2 for 2, I think?
Yeah, it was 2 for 2, so could have been a lot worse. But she might be a little confused because I think she was wanting to move out here with a full 6, and all of a sudden, hey, I've only got a couple. But oh, 1 mine going off there, just 1 squirrel goes down. That's good for DiGiorano, but Scarecrow's got his squirrels here, and looks like pretty even trade so far. I don't want to see DiGiorano push this issue too hard though. Needs to be careful. But actually, you know what? She's committed to this front attack. If you notice that Warren going down at the campfire.
Yeah, she's got great positioning, great unit composition. We've seen these like early squirrel fights before, and it usually comes down to every single hit matters. As we saw there, the two squirrels sort of traded each other. But with DJ's pigeons, that should really turn the tide in any fight.
I think you just like saying DJ and not talking about DJ Soak.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
It's all good. But yeah, no, this uphill battle is good. Or this uphill positioning is great for Deidrana, but Scarecrow's just got more stuff at this point, right?
Yeah, that was just a really bad fight to take because fighting into warrens with squirrels isn't the best, especially when you're not focus firing and you're hitting warrens instead. As I continually say, each shot matters. So if one shot or two shots are going into warrens, they're not going into squirrels. So that's just a big problem. I think it would have been better to play more conservative and get him better contained.
Yeah, and DJ backs out for now, and she's just gonna go home and try to tech up to Chameleons. And overall, I think Scarecrow might be in a slight edge this game, but really it's kind of hard to tell because Deidrana had that campfire going for so long, and now she's taking this other campfire. But actually, as I say that, Scarecrow now has a second base up and taking a couple farms on it, so those are gonna kick in for him here shortly.
If DJs can push this to the late game, she has a bit of advantage with the boar, because it seems like it's going to be a heavy squirrel game. But then again, each player has falcons, so the boar might not be that great to begin with.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to tell, man. I mean, Badger versus boar, I don't think I've seen that matchup a lot. My instincts kind of make me think maybe the Badger with some good micro might be able to deal with it, but if the boar knocks out the rest of the army, you know, really effectively, with that flamethrower, you just have the Badger left to deal with. But Scarecrow, man, great push out of him coming in now that we're in this kind of chameleon phase of the game, and knocks out Deidrana's expansion, which was kind of rough for her. And I feel a little bad because she, again, this map wasn't the greatest for Deidrana either. It's kind of difficult for her to take a second base any way you slice it here. That second base she was forced into taking was pretty risky, right? And Scarecrow, you know, was able to go over there and punish it pretty well.
And these fights are coming down to these chameleon timings. Each one, every time it comes out, each one tanks. And then the fight sort of goes in the favor of the chameleon player. But then once it dies, it then swaps back to the other player. And we sort of saw that here. But Scarecrow took out 2 warrens, which means so much at this stage in the game, especially since she's only on 5 income right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of worried about here, is Deidrana holds off from Scarecrow, overextending a little bit. That defender's advantage did kick in here for Deidrana, but just now, I was about to mention, if you look at the visibility of either players, neither one of them really knew about this treasure trove of 3 gristmills over here on the left side of the map, and just now Deidrana finds out about it, which is perfect for her because she absolutely needs to get a safe second base up.
Yeah, I don't think Scarecrow is going to allow her to do that, though.
Yeah,
just superior army advantage.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Deidrana here, the chameleons were in the back where they spawned. They weren't up on the front line for her, so you just kind of had squirrels versus chameleons going against just squirrels, even though Deidrana had chameleons. They just weren't there.
Man, those cams are trying as hard as possible, but the pigeons are just healing most of the units, and yeah, she taps out.
All right, great games from both players. I think Deidrana got a little bit of a bad roll of the dice, I gotta say, on those map gens. So I think she played well for the hand she was dealt, and I expect to see more out of her from the losers bracket.
Yep, she's not out of the game yet. Remember, this is double elimination, so each player has to lose 2 games before they're out. So we'll be seeing DJ
Okay.
soon.
Now, if I can get a hold of Classic Metal. Okay, so let me message the players.
So are we planning on streaming every game, considering the player number?
Wouldn't be opposed to it, but I think it's already, unless we can organize that right now. I think the round 1 games are all underway.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I am getting Classic Metal into the stream right now. And I think we have to wait. Now, I do want to verify that. Now, I guess I gotta check in Discord. What do you think? Do you wanna stream all of them?
It's up to you. I did some quick maths, and if we streamed every game, not including breaks, and every game averaged about 8 minutes, it would take about an hour and a half, a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If we can, yeah, I'm down to stream all games if the players are down for that. Oh, firmware and render aren't yet ready yet, is what. Hang on, guys.
So they're in their games right now?
I'm not sure if that's what he meant. Are you in your round 1 game? Okay.
I guess if that was the case, it would shave off some time. Too big of a deal.
Yeah, I was assuming that all the round 1 games were underway here, but I could be wrong about that. So in the meantime, while I wait on some answers for players, yeah, sometimes this happens, guys. Had a little bit of a bumpy start today. A couple people might have forgot about it and didn't check in, so that kind of happens in tournaments, though. It's to be expected.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever run a tournament that didn't have people DQ.
Yeah. Round 1 are playing, I think, but you could stream all from now on. Surrender is in the round 1 game. Okay, so they're on their 3rd game right now. Okay. Now, when you did your math, did that calculate the loser's bracket as well, or just the...
Yeah, I just counted each match and then multiplied that by 8. Oh, wait, that doesn't make sense. I did that completely wrong.
Yeah, but I don't want to make...
I can maths.
I think... Okay, maybe we'll stream round 2.
Okay, it would take about 4 to 5 hours to stream every single game.
That's with the losers bracket, right?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't we just stream the winners bracket, and then when the losers bracket gets near the end, we'll pick that up as well.
Cool.
So we're gonna hop into round number 2 here. It's gonna be Classic Metal versus the winner of Firmar versus Surrender.
Yeah, I like that name.
Yeah.
Surrender.
Uh-huh.
Whoop.
What's up?
I have a feeling, well, I guess each player is going to ban differently, but I'm waiting for that player who bans pretty much all the tier 1, and then it'll force the players to go some really awkward build, like banning mole, squirrel, lizard, and then essentially both players will have to tech straight to tier 2, or we're going to see some really early nothing play, really.
Yeah, imagine if both players just straight up... That's what I want to see, man. I want to see a little bit of collusion with these bans, because it's just for fun anyways, you know? Like, just ban every tier 1 unit, and then, like, the Fox or something, you know?
Oh, yeah, one player could ban all the, like, half the tier 1s, and then the other bans half the tier 2, and then it'll just become a tier 3 structure battle.
Oh, my God. Or just ban out all the tier 3. But that's kind of, I mean, a lot of guys just go tier 1, tier 2 anyway, so I don't know. I would really love to see a match, if any participants are watching, with no tier 1. Or at least no, like, imagine if squirrels and lizards were banned, for example. Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would change the entire structure of the game, really. I think most armies are always based around amount of squirrels or amount of lizards.
Okay, I'm not sure if I said this already, but what we're gonna do, guys, I'll pull up the bracket while we're waiting here. Web browser, there we go. So we are going to stream all the games in the winners bracket here. So both matches in round 2, and then the semifinals, and then the finals is gonna have to wait for the losers round to finish up. So at the very least, we'll probably jump over to losers round 4. But if the winners bracket just gets way ahead of the losers bracket, then we'll go into losers round 3 as well. What do you think, AV?
That sounds good to me. Seems pretty standard.
Cool. And there is
there we go.
Oh, are we ready?
Surrender has taken it over Firmar in a 2-1.
Beautiful. All right. So
we shall see Classic Metal versus Surrender.
Okay, so I want to make sure Scarecrow doesn't start his game. Okay, message him. All right. Okay, so we're gonna have Surrender versus Classic Metal coming up next. Let me do round 2 right here. Boom.
So the loser of Asfa and Durius Hart will face DJ, and that game will continue. Loses round 1 without the stream.
Hey, I'll be right back, AV. Keep talking. I shouldn't be gone for too long.
All right, sure. So I believe Classic Metal is in the chat. So when he's ready, hop in to the lobby. And then congrats to Surrender for taking over Firmar. I guess I'm not too inaccurate with my math here because since they did go to a best of 3, they did play about an extra 8 minutes. So it does seem to work out quite nicely, that average 8-minute. I expect to see games last a bit longer if the bans end up going really wonky, like we said before about banning all of Tier 1 or all of Tier 2. It'll have players sort of thinking on the spot, and Truth and Tale is already a game like that. So just adding in that extra bit of zest to the improv. Surrender is in, just waiting on Classic Metal.
Yo, I'm back.
Welcome.
All right. We got Surrender. Classic Metal should be on the way shortly.
Is he aware of the stream pass? Or the password?
Yeah, I think so. I'll double check. I just texted him. If you guys are watching, please don't join the unranked lobby. If you did figure out what our secret password is here, just to make sure there's no latency issues or anything like that. You can catch all the games live here on the stream, so. All right.
Super secret.
Oh God, I forgot again. Okay, so tell us what your bans are. And then, God, I gotta message everybody. You should be doing this, Ultima.
Hey, I'm not the work guy right now. I said it before.
That's very true. You get to sit back and relax, man. I got a guest cast on one of your tournaments. Hey, you know what? To be fair, I have guest casted on your tournaments before, and it was very relaxing while you were in the back doing all the work. Okay. At least type out for me in the Twitch chat for everybody. We've got Surrender's bans are Lizard, Ferret, and Fox. Isn't that the same? No, that's not the same. Ooh, Ferret ban. Interesting. Man, Ferrets and Fox are like my 2 favorite units. I would be so tilted. Alright, and then Classic Metal is deciding on his bans right now. Okay, I do want to reiterate, if you are in the losers round, don't wait on the stream.
Those bans are 3 units that were banned in the last set, but it wasn't quite the same. I believe it was Lizard, Drumfire, Fox. I think.
Yeah, the Drumfire was in there. Okay, okay. Classic Metal's bans are in, guys, and he chooses Badger, Boar, and Owl. You know, I wonder what happens. We might have to ask Josh about that, but I wonder what happens if both players happen to ban the same unit. Do we just go with 5 banned units, or does somebody re-roll? I don't know.
I guess we could have them ban another unit.
Yeah, I think so. If they both have the same ban on their mind, you know, it's not like you get an advantage or anything. I think both players are like, yeah, screw lizards, man.
So it looks like all but one tier 1 has been banned, being Wolf.
You mean tier 3? Yeah, you're right. There's only Wolf is available from the tier 3. That's interesting. I wonder if we're gonna see the Wolf get picked up here.
Huh. I hope not, because then that would just make the Wolf feel really bad. If I'm the last tier 3 on Earth, will you pick me? Obviously not.
It's like the kid in the playground is getting picked last for the game of basketball, you know?
Oh, I'm sorry. We're even right now. We can't work you in.
You can keep score though, or maybe if I strain a muscle, you can hop in. You know, tier 2.
All right, Surrender has already locked in his units. No Wolf.
God, what are the? Yeah, I wanted to at the last minute put something together to show the bans on the stream live, but that was. I kind of got my ass kicked just trying to figure out Scoreboard Assistant and making a little scoreboard in Photoshop last night, so didn't have the time for that, but I think we're keeping people fairly aware of what the bans are here. Just to reiterate, guys, lizards, ferrets, fox, badger, boar, and owl are banned from this game. From all matches here in round 2.
Oh, and Classic Metal picks the Wolf.
Yep. I like it.
Not feeling left out.
Now, if I was Surrender, though, I would have absolutely banned squirrels here. Don't you think so? Because Classic Metal's so known for his large squirrel play, but here we go. Spawning in the about 1 o'clock position, we've got Surrender. And his opponent in the 9 o'clock, Classic Metal. Alright, so what do you think of these decks, considering the bans?
Seems pretty standard. Looks like Classic Metal went across the board, really. No pigeons, though, and I think that's going to be Surrender's advantage. Being able to heal his units, especially if he puts out a bunch of tanky units like the Skunk and the Chameleon. Those pigeons are going to put in a lot of value in fights, keeping those units alive.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of pigeons lately. I wonder why that is. Maybe because snakes have kind of made a resurgence. I mean, I ran them for a while and got convinced into dropping them just because they heal up your poking units very quickly. But I guess they make sense with chameleons, right? You want to let those units tank and be able to heal them back up pretty quickly.
I want to say that this was a while ago when pigeons got that buff to being able to follow units and they'll no longer heal the commander. Pigeons have got so many of like quality of life changes that like the tanking game has become so much more prevalent compared to what it used to be. It used to be just like aggressive, and then tanking really just came down to defending, but now it's like we're seeing chameleons, we're seeing skunks just surviving fights for so long.
Yeah, not only that, but the snakes coming back into the meta. I mean, for a long time after Andy nerfed them to not hit structures anymore, we saw snakes just kind of fall off, right? But now that they're hitting structures again and a little bit of a beefy unit, we see their resurgence, and pigeons are a pretty good answer to snake.
Definitely. Especially with all the damage over time units like skunk and snake, pigeons are also very helpful in that aspect. And even just healing your tier 3s when it gets to that point.
Yeah. All right. So
I really enjoy that I'm seeing the snakes come back, and especially given the damage over time on structures now, it gives them back that utility that they sort of lost.
Yeah.
And it makes them a bit more interesting. Even though it doesn't make sense really thematically, I guess, it's still kind of nice to have.
See, this is what I've been waiting for, man. The ice map, my scoreboard looks okay, right? It's a little bit on theme.
Hey, you need an overlay for each type of biome then.
That would be amazing. So far this game, both players opted for a little bit of an economic start and then went to a 2 tier 1 Warren into a tier 2 play. But Classic Metal actually going a little further on the tier 2 here, opting for a second Warren, and I'm interested to see when the push out triggers are going to be here, or if players are going to macro up. Now, neither player here really got screwed on Gristmills. I'd say Classic Metal's got a little bit of the better spot, but Surrender's at least got a natural expansion, so as long as you kind of got one base near you that's reasonable to take, I kind of think that's fair, right? I mean, most games only come down to about 2 base play anyways.
Yeah, and considering that the map is like what I would like to call radial, it's sort of like a donut. Really, there's only 2 points of attack, is the left and right, and right now we're seeing that fight happen now at a really thin choke point.
Yeah, Surrender tried to wrap around his units, and I think Classic Metal just took a phenomenal engagement there because of it. Classic Metal's units were in position a lot faster than Surrender's was. You guys got to remember that about Tooth and Tail. Your units are not going to fire until they find their own tile to stand on. So Classic Metal kind of planted his feet on the ground there, while Surrender was still kind of wrap around and get the right angle. So Classic Metal at the beginning of that fight was able to get a lot of free damage done to his opponent, and then on top of that, Surrender was in that choke you mentioned, Ultima, which skunks just absolutely love choking people.
Yeah, that skunk gas did so much damage, and Surrender wasn't really trying to reposition it at all during that fight. But I think Classic Metal might have pushed in and overcommitted a little bit. He lost a lot of his tier 2, and usually when you have a great fight win, you don't want to go in and just lose units like that. In the very least, you want to keep your tier 2 alive, because that costs so much money. And if you're forcing your opponent to lose that 60 food while you're not losing it, it's a great spot. But he just ended up running in and sort of making the mistake.
Yeah, let's take a look at the army graph here. Actually, right at the moment, it is completely neck and neck. Wow, that is absolutely insane. How? Okay.
Yeah, you can really see it at like the 3-minute mark where like, oh, Classic Metal's ahead, but then he goes in, it becomes even.
Yeah. How did Surrender get back into this? I mean, I'm pretty impressed that he's been able to muster back up forces to be equal to Classic Metal. I guess it was just that overextension you were talking about, right? And Classic Metal losing a couple of those tier 2 units.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think Surrender during that time was able to get up an MG as well, so it allowed for additional tanking and defense. So hopefully Classic Metal will get some better micro in this next engagement.
Well, we'll see. He gets a better positioning here. His units were dancing around very long, but that Skunk Cloud was doing a ton of damage to everything, and Classic Metal has got to be feeling great about this. Even if he loses the rest of his army here, you got to look at what happened right before this fight started. Classic Metal went to full saturation basically on his second base, so his economy is through the roof right now, and he takes at least an even trade there with his opponent, and he's got to be very happy at this point. Yeah, Surrender knows.
Oh.
Yep. That Surrender, no pun intended, actually doesn't make sense to me, because Surrender scouted Classic Metal economy just skyrocketing before that fight, and he knew, that the next follow-up attack would be too much. It was a little bit premature, I guess, though.
Yeah, also considering that they traded armies fairly well. I think he could have stayed in just to see if Classic Metal made any mistakes, and I think in the past we have seen that kind of thing. But I guess Surrender just sort of, thought about it in his tooth and tail brain of his, and then figured, nah, this is over. It's a shame.
Yeah, and as long as Classic Metal didn't sit around and let Surrender get up his own economy, I think he was gonna win in the end there. But definitely, it would have been more entertaining to watch him stay in a little longer. But you do that all the time, man. Especially, it's not so great in tournaments to do that, because you gotta be like, Ash Ketchum a little bit. Super. Gotta believe, right? And But on the ladder, especially in RTS games where you run some numbers and you're just like, okay, he's got me at this point, I'm gonna check out. That's a pretty standard thing to do. But here we go, guys. Oh, if my controller was working, there we go. Spawning in the 6 o'clock, currently down 1 game in this best of 3. We've got Surrender and his opponent in the north in the 11 o'clock, up 1-0, Classic Metal. I didn't really pay close attention to the deck choices. Did we get any changes from game 1? I'm so terrible about looking at things like that and remembering it.
It's fairly the same. Classic Metal didn't pick up. Actually, he doesn't have snakes now. He swapped that out for falcons, I believe.
Maybe the barbed
but still
wire?
not going for those pigeons.
The barbed wire here, to be perfectly honest, doesn't make a lot of... Were lizards banned? Lizards were banned, right? No?
They were.
Yeah. I mean...
They were banned.
If lizards are banned, you know, what's the barbed
Hello?
wire gonna do for you? Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah. I think you were cutting in and out for me there, but...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying, though? Like, the barbed wire, you really want that against the lizards, right? Like, what else do you think Classic Metal picked that up for?
Well, I imagine for the squirrels, right? Because squirrels can't hit barbed wire.
Yeah.
And I think, well, since Surrender has the chameleons, that sort of doesn't really matter. I think Surrender will just, if he does see any barbed wire from Classic Metal, he'll just avoid it and then get chameleons out at some point.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if barbed wire is in a great spot right now because it's sort of, unless you have an amazing positioning at the beginning that you can get it in the best spot possible. But really, in most cases, when someone puts on barbed wire, it's just like, okay, I guess I'll avoid that, and then I'll get something that can attack it later.
Yeah, like, look at Surrender's base here, just as, like, a thought experiment, kind of where his warrens are to the right of it. That little tiny choke right there, you know, imagine, like, one piece of barbed wire right there, right? Like, that's really where barbed wire shines, I feel like, and it's kind of based on the map gen that you get.
Yeah, and really, it's barbed wire is definitely one of those structures that also needs units around to protect it. So if Classic Metal can get in a good position and place down a couple and then put his army behind it, that could work really well. Considering there's, well, I guess there is that large flank to the right of Surrender that he could make a great play from if Classic Metal does end up trying to go for some kind of contain.
Here we go, though. Classic Metal with his squirrel ball style, man, trying to punish Surrender for messing around, trying to go up to a quick tier 2. The chameleon isn't in position here, and the turret goes down very quickly, man. Turrets are a weird unit. Like, if they are powerful, but if they're by themselves, man, they will just get annihilated very quickly. And I don't know, I think Surrender's okay here, to be honest. I think the defender's advantage is enough, and it's certainly going to make Classic Metal at least, you know, pull back, regroup, and wait a minute before he comes in again.
Yeah, that really wasn't too bad. Even though Classic Metal was on did have the squirrel advantage, just couldn't penetrate the squirrels fast enough to do any real damage. And then the chameleon came and started tanking. I'm glad Surrender didn't lose his first chameleon. Smart mecca from him.
Yeah, but unfortunately, since he doesn't have his pigeons out yet, that first chameleon was still at pretty low HP. Died relatively quickly in this fight, but it did its job. At least number 2 did, and Surrender takes a very impressive victory here, even with that gristmill being in the way tanking. He really wants to knock that gristmill out before Classic Metal's units get back here, so it's out of the way. And great hold here from Surrender. I think he's in great shape now.
Yeah, great focus fire control during that fight, not just allowing your units to attack whatever. He was maneuvering around the backlines, killing everything. It's a really great move. With the addition of focus fire, that mill tanking that people used to do isn't as effective against someone who can focus fire appropriately.
Yeah, but focus fire can be a double-edged sword if you have too many units, so, right, and, like, you waste shots, so you gotta be careful about it. But yeah, this is that barbed wire kind of positioning I love, man. Just a couple pieces, you know? It's really tempting to spend a lot of money on it and draw a big line, but, you know, just 1 or 2 pieces here or there is really where you get the maximum value.
Yeah, it's more or less a deterrent from attacks. I guess like most structures, but I guess in terms of actual fight impact, really, if they're not in the bestest of spots, then they won't be as effective.
Yeah.
But I think right now, Classic Metal is in a pretty good position if he just holds this off, because he just needs to hold this choke, and then he's sort of got that base to the left all to himself if he can hold it.
Yeah, but Surrender can kind of come in here with his sneaky chameleons, knock out a barbed wire piece or two over time, and I'd like to see him kind of do that while macroing up instead of take a hard engagement, you know, just kind of poke and prod, take 20 food here, take 20 food there, don't lose anything, be careful, and try to get a little bit of an edge for a big fight later.
Yeah, it also keeps Classic Metal on his toes, too. He doesn't want to sit back and allow him to do this. Because I think it will spell doom if he does take this position and holds it. Like I said, he's going to have that base to the left while being able to contest that middle base. There actually isn't that many mills on this map to really take, other than that campfire way off to the east.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I didn't even notice how sparsely populated the gristmills are here. Because if you kind of look at it at first glance, there's so many trees and paths and stuff, your eyes just kind of assume that there's got to be something there, right? But no, you're right, man. There's really only a third base available for both players, and that's it. I mean, quote-unquote available for both players. A little bit easier for Surrender to take here, but it's not out of the question Classic Metal could take this base over into 8 o'clock, you know, if you really muscled for that position.
Yeah, I'm actually noticing now that neither player is even scouted over there where that base is. So, unless Classic Metals or either of them decide to do it anytime soon, it's going to be a really low eco game.
Yeah, great play to just take that campfire too. I love stuff like that. You know, most likely Surrender will never even notice. But here we go. Surrender wanted to come in and poke down just on a couple pieces of barbed wire, but Classic Metal said, no, man, if you're going to come poke, we're going to engage. And that went beautifully for Surrender. I actually meant to mention it earlier, but after Surrender identified the skunks, if you notice, man, he's been really focusing on his tier 2 and cut squirrel production, you know, only at 9 squirrels, which I think is a great response.
Yeah, the tank play came in really important there. I think Surrender lost all of his squirrels in the initial fight, but then his cam just picked it up. And now we're seeing that again here. His chameleons are staying alive, keeping his squirrels and falcons alive, along with the pigeons, and now he pretty much has free reign over the space to take it down. Classic Metal doesn't have any units coming out that could defend this, and now he's on one campfire.
That's got to be the killing blow, and Classic Metal's not gonna pull a surrender here. Haha. He's gonna stay in the game, but I think Surrender has got it from here. Yeah, there we go. Classic Metal taps out, and we're gonna go to game 3 here. Really cool. Great game.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, the issue was Classic Metal's overcommitment to skunks, I guess. And then it was a great recognition from Surrender, selling some of his squirrels, getting more falcons up, and that really determined the fight.
All right, you know what I'm going to try to do real quick? I'm going to try to put in the bands. Do you remember what the bands were? Could you look in the Twitch chat for me real quick?
Yeah, I'll take another look. Surrender banned Lizard, Ferret, and Fox. And Classic Metal banned Badger, Board, and Owl. Where should I put this? Maybe over here. A little too small. Is resizing going on the stream right now?
I might be doing a thing or two. All right, I might have to mess with this when we get a little more downtime later. But I guess I could at the very least just have a little thing like that. Boom, beautiful. I wait your review, Senpai. Everyone knows AV Ultima's got the best production value in the biz here. But yeah, I'm excited. So far, it's been a great tournament. Thank you. All the players were really reasonable. While we kind of had to scramble, a couple guys were no shows this morning, which is totally fine. I mean, it happens. And big shout out to Josh, man. I love seeing people just constantly. I mean, Josh has organized several tournaments now. Real cool to see, man. It's always fun to do these competitive events. It's fun to host it. It's even more fun to be a player in one of these. So if you haven't played a tournament yet, guys, don't be shy. I mean, you know, all levels of play are perfectly fine. It's just fun, man. Like I love just playing a tournament, even if it doesn't really matter so much, the adrenaline rush you get, you know, just like, all right, let's do this, you know. I don't know, I love it.
Yeah, the added stakes is a great feeling. Being watched by millions of people.
Yeah.
And on Twitch, you know, really puts a rush in you.
Approximately 1 million.
Classic Metal is really thinking about this. Wait, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Huh? Why isn't it go? Wait, am I not in the game right now? What's happening?
They're both just waiting to press A, I think. They're
both.
Yeah,
Okay.
You freaked out for a minute, man.
Yeah, I was like, I'm seeing 6 units picked. Why aren't we going?
And we're just waiting on Surrender to press that A button.
Hey. In Classic Metal, forgoing the wolf, unfortunately, poor guy, for a balloon, which actually is a good choice here considering all the tier 2. But he's got to make sure that he gets a great positioning with it.
All right, here we go, guys. This is going to be it for this round. Spawning in the 8 o'clock position, we've got Surrender and his opponent in the 3, Classic Metal. Okay.
Wow, Surrender has 3 campfires on his side of the map in fairly great positions for him, as well as that high ground. So this is going to be a tough fight for Classic Metal.
Yeah, look at that high ground outside of Surrender's base, man. If Classic Metal comes in and attacks early and tries to abuse that, now this is kind of similar to what happened to Dijorana in that game, right? Where Surrender doesn't have a great spot to put defensive Warrens here. So I wonder if Classic Metal is going to try to move out with like 5 or 6 squirrels and knock out a pig or 2.
Oh, that's a very good point. Yeah, and I don't expect Classic Metal is going to go heavy in the structures because it is fairly open throughout here. I mean, if anything, Surrender has the best structure positioning. But right now, if Classic Metal puts down a balloon somewhere, it's really not going to have that much coverage, considering how wide everything is. But yeah. I guess we'll see.
Both players opting for that 8-farm eco game here. Nobody trying to do any crazy shenanigans in the early game. So Surrender kind of lucking out there, to be perfectly honest, because Classic Metal had a great opportunity to abuse Surrender's spawn, and now Surrender can start taking this high ground. And once he takes that gristmill, man, and really claims this high ground entirely, it's going to be an uphill battle for Classic Metal.
Yeah, it really was on CM to try to get something going early, but he pretty much played into probably what Surrender really wanted, as you said. And now he has those forward Warrens in a good spot to hold the high ground and set up for that high ground take as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see some campfires taken very soon.
Yeah, but Classic Metal rather, you know, if this game persists into the mid to late game, is gonna be in a better spot, right? I mean, he's got 2 bases right outside his main, and that nice little high ground of his own to maybe throw a balloon, and you know, overall Surrender would have to take that 12 o'clock base to get 3 gristmills himself. But I guess he does have 3 campfires, so that's like half a gristmill, right? Or not close, rather.
I think the early campfires, if he decides to take them, will just propel him like very smoothly into the mid game, where he'll be able to contest those 2 bases outside Classic Metal's base. Perhaps if he plays it right, and he is grabbing a campfire now, and I think he might just have enough eco to really bust any type of balloon play if Classic Metal does play that way.
Yeah, both players opting for some skunks here, which I think Classic Metal is going to be in a better spot with this, because he's not, well, as I say that, he adds on more squirrels, but you know, you want to be careful. Both players need to identify their opponent has skunks, and they can know to transition more tier 2 and not just keep building more and more squirrels here, right? But Surrender wanting to move out. Let's see if he can deny this expansion. I think he's going to poke, sees Classic Metal's got a decent army, and just backs out for now.
Yeah, looks like CM's going to set up for some defenses here. And and Surrender doesn't have any type of harassment unit like Ferret or Snake, so he's really not going to be able to poke into these structures in a harassment way.
Yeah, that's a good point. Especially the balloon, man, because that balloon's going to one-shot Falcons, right? The Chameleon's not going to be able to do anything about it. That's what I'm worried about. If Classic Metal can kind of hunker down and get 2, maybe 3 balloons set up outside of his 3 bases, he's gonna be in a phenomenal spot to just let this thing go longer and longer. But then what, you know? I mean, I guess you just have to build a bunch of Falcons from there, and either player has that juicy tier 3 unit for the late game here, right?
Yeah, looks like this will be a bit of a death ball moment at some point. Probably after Surrender saturates that second base and gets those campfires. He's going to be sort of struggling to want to push out. Check that visibility. Okay, good. Both players has scouted that top base. So imagine when these bases start getting saturated, players will be vying to get that top base.
Oh, I can't wait for that moment. That is going to be amazing. You know, just both these guys just clash and constantly try to get that 12 o'clock. Because you're right, man. That's what this is going to really come down to, especially for Surrender, man. He needs that 12 o'clock base. He's got chameleons here, too.
And both players, like, really needing to check out each other's compositions. So, because each Warren will make a whole lot of difference in the fight to come. Whether or not if you have the right amount of Falcons to take out the leftover units, if you have enough snakes to tank appropriately.
Yeah.
So really, even though the fights go by quick, like there are micro moments in it that really matter a whole lot.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm kind of digging Surrender's composition here, to be perfectly honest. And Classic Metal, man, taking that 12 o'clock already. And I think that's a muscle play, right? Like, he just knows Surrender really needs that base. And he's like, no, I'm going to go ahead and take it right now. What are you going to do? Fight me for it? Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. If Surrender's going to need to take that at some point, but he's going to have to commit units to it now if he wants to. Oh, it looks like he's just going to go into the front door.
All this defense here for Classic Metal. Surrender realizing Classic Metal is trying to get these balloons up and says, no way, Jose. I got to pull the trigger now before those powerful balloon units get deployed here for Classic Metal. Takes actually a great engagement, even under turret fire, and backs out at a pretty appropriate time.
Very conservative play, knowing he won the fight, and I think he maybe could have gotten a pig, but not without losing a couple tier 2s. This is something we saw in previous games where players will just sacrifice units to get maybe 1 pig. But I like this pullback, knowing he has army advantage, and I think he'll go in knowing that Classic Metal is now down in terms of structures on that side.
Yeah, that's really what it is, man. You want to keep the pressure on, but you need to pull back and regroup and let your army rebuild just for a minute. And that's what you see Surrender do. And now he wants to take this advantage that he just built for himself and compound on it. And that was just great execution. Somebody should clip that, really, to be perfectly honest, for newer players, because Surrender really showed exactly how it's done. Because, you know, when he won that first big fight, your gut instinct is, let's push in, let's get that damage done, let's take that second base, right? But Surrender pulled back for the right amount of time. He didn't wait too long and let Classic Metal recover. You know, he just waited long enough, let his units heal, let his units regroup, went in, got the base, and took the game off it. That was fantastic. Really great play. All right, so that is going to be it for that round. Now we need Scarecrow and Darius to step on in. Let me message these guys. Okay.
And looking at the brackets, it looks like DJ took it over Asfa 2-0 in the losers bracket.
Yeah, great play. I think she was playing phenomenally, man. I really do. I think the map gen hurt her a little bit in those previous games, so I'd like to see how far she gets in that losers bracket. Let me do a little coordination behind the scenes here, guys, with these players. And I guess in the meantime, I can try to make my overlay with the bands look a little better. Let me see. All right, maybe if I put this up here.
Last minute production increase.
I mean,
is that in the budget, dude? I don't know.
You're gonna have to pay me an extra 20 cents here. Let's see. All right. It is kind of tiny, but it's there at the very least.
Oh, cool. Okay, Scarecrow has sent me his bands, so I'll go ahead and post that in the chat. It is Squirrel, lizards, and falcon. Awesome.
Squirrel lizard ban. This is what I've been waiting for. You know, so
yeah,
far...
he pretty much banned all the DPS units, the typical DPS units. Now players are going to have to figure out where to get their DPS from elsewhere.
Yeah, man. So far, these games haven't been super as crazy as I thought they'd be. They've been fantastic games, but I thought we were just going to see some wonky stuff, right? And we might actually see that here now that the squirrel and lizard combo has been banned.
Yeah, most definitely. I imagine we'll see snakes, definitely chameleons, and coupled with some pigeons, unless, you know, the other player decides to ban those things. We're going to get even wonkier.
Ooh, actually, hang on. I've almost got it, AV. You're going to be proud. This is going to
bring up the here.
This is going to look good. Okay, duplicate, and then put this over here. Alright, so now I got the bands under the individual player's name. I think that's pretty legible. Okay, so Squirrel, Lizard, Falcon for Scarecrow. We haven't heard from Delthius yet, right?
Have not. He is in the lobby, though.
Alright, let me update my scoreboard. Alright, so we got Scarecrow versus Delthius Hearts.
Yeah, I don't want to see any tier 3s banned here. I just want to see tier 1s and tier 2s. Well, actually, now, let's just see some tier 2s and some structures banned.
Okay, let me see. Oh, if you look at the stream now, I've almost got it fixed. But you could see what I'm doing, though. You see under surrender over there? Or it says
I do see that.
You like that?
Oh yeah, it's copy and paste, and there it goes.
Yeah.
See it moving. Keeping our spectators informed.
Yes. All right. Wait.
One overlay at a time.
Okay. So Delthius Hart is banning Snake, Owl, and Mine. Interesting.
Oh wait, Snake, Owl, and Mine. You said?
Yeah.
Snake.
When we're still in round 2, so that's correct. DiGerano's versus Classic Metal right now, so good luck to her out there. It looks like Fermar is waiting on the loser of this round. And Surrender's in the semifinals, waiting for his opponent, who will be the winner of this round.
People really are enjoying that barbed wire.
Yeah, that's real interesting, man. I still don't kind of understand it. I mean, I guess it's good against squirrels, like you said earlier. I don't know why I just can't understand that fact. But here's what's crazy this game, guys, is no bread and butter units here. No squirrels, no lizards, no falcons. Wait, falcons are banned, aren't they? Delthius cannot take them.
Yeah, the falcons are banned.
Falcons are banned.
There we go.
Okay.
He has realized. You know, in games where... Oh, you know what? I guess I wouldn't... Okay, well, if a player bans ferrets, that makes structures a whole lot easier. So I'm wondering if any of these players like prepared beforehand, like, okay, I'm gonna ban this, and then I'm gonna play this with strat.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Like ban ferret and then go super crazy with turrets, you know?
Yeah, if a player doesn't have ferrets are so good, if you spam them.
All right, here we go, guys. Spawning in the 4 o'clock, we've got Scarecrow. And his opponent in the 12, Delthius Hart. All right, so we've finally got a game with some crazy decks here, Ultima.
And a kind of an awkward spawn, something I haven't seen in a while. They're not really cross spawns, and they're pretty much just right outside each other. Scarecrow could attempt some kind of contain just right off the bat, but oh well, he doesn't really have any good structures for that, so maybe not.
Yeah, but he has moles, right? Which Darius Hart might be feeling safe in the early game, thinking, okay, I'm not gonna get squirrel or lizard rushed, but don't forget about those sneaky moles, man. Let's see if Scarecrow's gonna go for it. Oh my god, is he gonna do it? Alright, nothing too crazy from here. So, I mean, how do you even play this out, Ultima? What do you think the strategy is?
Darius going for a super early tier 2, while Scarecrow's going 8 farms, so this is exactly what needed to happen for Darius to get that out. But yeah, because really, Scarecrow can't really defend with anything here. His tier 2 is going to come out so slow. Darius might be able to get pick or two here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he blocks his second chameleon from coming out by putting down farms and a pigeon warren. So that second one's going to come out super late. Bit of a misplay in that regard.
Yeah, but you're totally right here, man. One chameleon should be able to come in here and take out a pig or two, no problem. Scarecrow doesn't have anything yet, but this timing window is closing if you watch Scarecrow's chameleon production. And here we go, the chameleon's here. It's even got a pigeon backing it up. And this might be able to do an insane amount of damage, Ultima.
Actually, along with that pigeon, that was pretty great. Allowed him to take out 3 with just... Oh, he's going to get it. He got it. 1 chameleon for 3 pigs. That is great value.
Oh, my God.
Considering he's on 1 campfire, right now, Darius is ahead by 2 income, really. So, great play.
Yeah, you gotta be happy with that trade for Darius. Ideally, he was trying to keep his chameleon alive, but killing 3 pigs and only losing a chameleon and a pigeon, nothing wrong with that, indeed. And Scarecrow is gonna stabilize in the minute. I mean, Scarecrow's not out of this game or anything. The campfire is certainly helping him out here, but Darius is in a good spot, so I'm interested to see what he wants to do with his lead, and it looks like for now he just wants to go ahead and take that expansion.
Oh, wow. Now we're seeing an early wolf. That's pretty gutsy. Guess he's going to use the barbed wire to sort of block off his base while he gets that wolf out. He's really going for that late game, or I guess really propelling himself into a mid-game play.
Yeah, I actually like the wolf here because I feel like it makes sense from Darius. If you're Scarecrow after losing, after taking a lot of that damage, you gotta think of the mental state of these players, I should say, right? A lot of times when you get rushed and you take some damage, you kind of feel a little hurt, right? You're not gonna be as aggressive most of the time. You're gonna kind of try to stay back a little bit. So Darius is thinking that's gonna be the window he needs, but okay, now I'll give it to you, Ultima. This is crazy. 2 tier 3s coming out for Darius.
Also, considering that Scarecrow has chameleons, this barbed wire isn't really going to do much, and that's all he's building. So these barbed wire walls are going to melt. If he gets that badger out in time, the chameleons aren't... It's really going to be a game of cat and mouse, just trying to kill each other. Chameleon's going to go invisible, while the badger is just sitting around, just trying to run away from them. So this is going to be a very silly game.
Yeah, nice little attempt from Darius Hart there with some Metal Gear Solid chameleons, man, trying to sneak around the back. But Scarecrow knew what was up, positioned his chameleons over there in time, and no harm, no foul from either players. But I love seeing little things like that, little attempts for harassment. And Scarecrow decides, hey, man, I've got 8 chameleons. I'm ready to rock and roll here. And is going to put on some pressure to Darius, who's made such a big investment into these tier 3 units that just hasn't paid off yet. I mean, he's got a wolf, Ultima. I mean, 1 wolf, He
needs to be powering up the Badger Warren so it comes out faster.
Oh, that is very true. Gonna lose the expansion here.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, are you serious? What did I just see?
Like the last possible frame.
Oh my God! If Darius
now he's committing
wins,
to the mill here, and he's not gonna get it. Oh my gosh,
dude! Are you serious? That was insane.
Out of the ashes, that badger emerged.
And Darius is gonna win the game off this. I guarantee you. Chameleon is not very good against a buffed up Badger. So you can just kite that all day long.
You know what? Darius has not built a second base, and he doesn't know of Scarecrow's base all the way to the left. So I think Darius's Chameleons are powered up fast enough to go back and defend. But right now, they're both sort of in a cat and mouse game where they're just trying to destroy each other's bases. Such low eco.
Oh man, I'm half even paying attention to this game now because I want to watch this moment. It's about to happen on the stream again with the delay. But I think Darius got that other Gristmill up just in time. Very smart decision making to come back home and stop these Chameleons, and that's got to be it, man. I think Darius takes it from here, right?
Oh, I don't like that Scarecrow was trying to commit so hard to that base. I would have rather have liked him just be running around. But I guess considering that Darius had the Wolf and allowed him to catch up to his units, it just put him in a position where Scarecrow couldn't just start running around. Oh man.
Dude, somebody please clip that for me. I see Premium Bow in the chat. I see Firmar. One of you guys, man. Clip that amazing clutch Badger spawn and Chameleon destruction. That was incredible. I'm still not over it, Ultima.
Okay, now we're seeing moles come out, but Darius has 3 bases at this point, and now he's gonna spot it. And his army is just so fast with that wolf. It's crazy how like the speed boost has come into play here.
Yeah,
I think without that wolf, Scarecrow might have had this game, but now Darius has taken that one, and that was a wild game.
Dude, that was incredible. I know I keep saying it, but somebody, you gotta clip that moment for me, man. Please, pretty please. If somebody doesn't, I guess later I will myself, but great job from both players here, especially Darius, man. And that's so crazy that the game came down to, what, a fraction of a second, Ultima?
Indeed.
I mean, that Badger barely spawned in time. If those Chameleons got there just a little bit earlier, Scarecrow would have dominated that game.
We need someone to go back and analyze that and see, like, how many frames away he was losing that Badger. That was crazy. Because I was certain he had it. He had it down before it came out.
Oh, yeah.
So it must have been less than a second.
Oh, dude, it was way less than a second. Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're talking about, like, frames there, for sure. That was incredible.
I've said in the past that Tooth and Tail is a game of inches and centimeters.
Yep.
Which means nothing, but I'm just memeing out here.
Oh, God. Dude, I'm still not over it, man. Let me see if I get wowed again. Darius started trying to go for something else, but you know that Wolf Badger combo. I mean, especially against that. I mean, Chameleons just can't do anything against that. Hell, even just one Badger should be able to micro and kite Chameleons to their death, right?
Potentially, neither one can really kill each other. If one is trying to chase the other, one's just going to stay invis, while the other one's just going to be running away. But, I think in a surprise attack, the Chameleons have an advantage if the Badger can't get away in time.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I mean, if you are getting kited by a Badger, you can simply just re-stealth your Chameleons and try again later. Yeah, and then try to set up that attack where you ambush them.
Yeah, essentially it's just really awkward.
All right, here we go, guys. Game number 2 here. Spawning in the 12 o'clock, we've got Scarecrow. And his opponent in the 3, Darius Hart. All right, so a little bit of adjustment here, right? I don't think I remember seeing ferrets or balloons last game, right?
Correct. I guess maybe great awareness from Scarecrow to grab balloons just in case Darius decides to go ferrets. Because this is actually a great map for ferrets. Usually if you get a swampy, watery map like this, attacking from across the river is a great thing that ferrets can do. And Scarecrow is sort of in this little corner of the map, so it's really on him to push out and take positioning at some point.
See, this is where the barbed wire shines, man. This is such a good example. That little flank on the left of Scarecrow, just throw like one piece of barbed wire there, right? Don't worry about Chameleon sneaking into your main base or something. But so far, well, I was about to say so far nothing crazy, but Darius Hart actually went for a 5-farm ferret here.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a ferret rush before. That's definitely new to me.
Yeah, well, working in the parameters of no tier 1 here, we're going to see a bunch of nonsense.
And I'm really even surprised he did that because he doesn't have any high ground vision. So it's going to be really awkward for him to do this. So I guess he's going to have to do some really great positioning with his ferrets while keeping his commander alive on the high ground.
Well, actually, I think he's got vision from this other high ground, right? Let's see.
Ooh.
If Darius is going to have to actually go up there. Yeah, it looks like a little bit. And Scarecrow doesn't have an answer at all. He hasn't even started building units yet. Because
that was perfect.
Ooh, yeah, you're right. 1 HP left on Darius. Yeah, lucky Scarecrow has some moles here, but already took a ton of damage off this.
Wow, he has microed this so well. But you know what? Look on the back side of Darius's base. He has put up a balloon, which is going to kill. Actually, yeah, he has nothing that can kill the balloon, so it's just going to kill these pigs for nothing.
Are you serious? This is insane.
And now he's going to mold, and he doesn't have any kind of unit that can stop it, really, unless moles have been really, really nerfed these past few days. I think he's going to win this just by... Oh, yeah, I think they don't do as much damage as they used to do, so I don't think he's going to win straight out right now.
Yeah, the moles' damage is less than it was. I think they're a little tankier than they used to be as well. I actually think moles are in a pretty good spot at the moment. You know, you don't have to worry about those, like, 4-farm mole rushes, you know, not having an answer to it or anything like that. But critical damage almost here from Scarecrow, but really, you know, kind of returning the favor of the 3 farms Darius killed earlier. But now Darius feels a little pinned down. And as more and more moles come in, he'll eventually get enough to not have to worry about these turrets anymore. And I think this might be game, Ultima.
Yeah, it looks so. Right now, he's losing a lot of... Actually, he's focus firing horribly because the pigeons are healing the ferrets, and the moles aren't able to out DPS it, but good. I like that he cut his losses and went for the Warren there. Pretty much any of the damage he does to Darius right now is really important. And it's really funny. Darius has nothing that can kill this balloon other than the Badger, and as we can see, he's now getting that out. But his income is so slow right now. I'd like to see Scarecrow... transition to maybe, yeah, there you go, getting chameleons out. That's good.
Yeah, I'd really love to see Scarecrow just return to base real quick, take those farms, and come back, you know, because he's doing a lot of damage to his opponent's economy, but he doesn't have the best economy in the world himself, right? So needs to be careful about that for sure.
Oh, no. Oh, some really not great micro from Darius, losing a ferret there.
Yeah, he kind of got blood in his eyes there, red in the eyes on that campfire a little, right? And wanted to take it out real bad and underestimated the damage from that sniper balloon.
Oh, yeah, and you're right. Scarecrow has not gone back and taken his 3 farms here. Although now it's just a waiting game. See if Scarecrow can take this game before that Badger comes out. And I think this is going to happen. Yeah, he's going to go straight for the Badger Warren now. And he sells it for 60 food, but I don't think there's anything that Darius can do here. He's losing his farms. He doesn't have any Warrens. It only has 3 MGs and a ferret to defend this.
Yeah, but it's not a free lunch here for Scarecrow. He needs to coordinate this correctly. He needs to control these units correctly. He needs to make sure not to lose any chameleons or anything like that. You know, Darius is being being a bastard here a little bit and keep it in this game with just more and more turrets. And I can't blame him, to be perfectly honest. And yeah, that's the move to make. Darius needs to set up camps somewhere else at this point, because eventually Scarecrow will break this.
Oh, I don't think that mill's going to get up fast enough.
That's going to be it. Man, this has been such a fun series.
What's the score count? Did Scarecrow take it there?
Yep.
Or is it 1-1?
It's 1-1. Darius won the last game. Darius was the guy who got out the Badger just in time.
All right, cool.
So we are going to the third match here.
Yeah, I'm really liking these games without squirrels or lizards.
Yeah, this is what I was expecting to see all day long, right? Because if I was in this tournament, I would be that guy 100%. I'd be like, what are my 3 bans? Squirrel, lizard, mole. That's what I'm gonna ban. You know, let's play some crazy games.
And I hope to see that after this tournament is over, like there's going to be some additional theory crafting. Like, hey, maybe tier 2 first can work in some situations, and we get the wheels turning in the minds of some of these players that hey, maybe this will work inside of ladder.
Oh yeah, like that, like a 5-farm ferret. Seems completely crazy. But what if you microed that? A ferret will one-shot tier 1. If you catch your opponent off guard, maybe if they built squirrels, you might be able to get something done with it. That's a good point.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless.
Let's see what these guys decide to do. Whoever wins here is gonna move forward into the semifinals, and the other player will be knocked down to the losers bracket to try to claw their way back into the winners bracket eventually. All right, guys. What's up?
Oh, okay. I thought I was hearing some kind of buzzing noise.
Oh,
So I was paused for a second there, trying to see if that was something on my end.
Oh no, is it still happening? Well, let me introduce these guys real quick. In the 9 o'clock, we've got Scarecrow. And in the 3 o'clock, his opponent, Darius. Yeah, is it still going on?
Nope, it is no longer going.
Sweet. All right, so let's see what happens this game. I wonder, oh, Darius opted for a mole rush here. I don't think Scarecrow actually sees it. He doesn't. That's a perfect little edge for Darius here. Oh, man, is this going to work?
Because he went for that extra farm, though, it's... Ooh, this one's going to crit this structure, though. Let's see, he'll get it before that pig actually pops out.
Oh, man, great control.
On the very corner.
Great control there by Darius, too. Pulling back right when the commander was about to die. If he lost his commander there, that would have been completely horrible. Would have lost the mole as well.
And Scarecrow even had the great pig RNG there attacking. Both pigs were attacking that mole, but still, he's able to get it because he kept it right on the edge.
Yeah, nice little edge for Darius Hart coming into game number 3 here. And this is a pretty important game, man. Whoever wins this can sit nice and tall in the semifinal match. And their opponent's going to have to go down to the losers bracket where I just heard Classic Metal advanced. And, he's a pretty good player, so you don't want to have to fight Classic Metal to get into the semifinals when you could just get into the semifinals, right?
Ooh, it looked like Darius was trying to set up for a balloon high ground attack like last game, but Scarecrow reacting appropriately, getting enough moles out to just fend him off. This is funny to see. We're just seeing moles from both players. And a balloon from Darius. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I kind of like this balloon. If you look at Scarecrow's deck, he doesn't have a lot of options to deal with a balloon, right? And this balloon is going to protect both Darius's main and his second base here. So he's going to be in good shape, man. He can sell off those moles, really eco up, or no, instead goes for that wolf. But
Going for that early fox again, or wolf.
Yeah, I'd love to see him sell those moles off, though. I really don't think he needs them anymore now that he has that balloon. But a balloon's going down for Scarecrow as well. Darius is going to try to deny that at last minute with a couple moles. I think he'll be able to.
Oh, you're right. That was actually a great heads-up play. Oh, he's going to get it. He got it.
Dude, this series has just been, like, clutch play after clutch play, man.
That is huge. Losing 120 food like that is very bad.
Yeah, indeed.
But we're seeing a lot of chameleons from Scarecrow. This is sort of a very similar game that we saw before. Scarecrow had all the chameleons, had the advantage, but just didn't get that tier 3 in time. But I think Darius is in a better spot to defend with this MG, with this balloon, and with the 2 moles that he has, or however much he's going to have.
Yeah, if Scarecrow can hold on to this base he just took in the 6 o'clock, though, that's going to be a really big deal. If he can start putting down some balloons on the front line, and I think as this game progresses later and later, I feel like that Badger is going to get more work done than the Wolf will, And, Darius has a nice little section of the map over here, but he's only got access to 3 bases and a campfire. And meanwhile, Scarecrow, if he splits the map the way he's trying to split it right now, he could take as many as 5 bases total here, Ultima.
Good. And if Scarecrow's looking to harass, he really should go north. And it looks like that's what he's considering right now. But I think Darius sniffed it out. He saw him heading up there, and now he's ready. Yeah, Scarecrow should really think about just backing out of this.
I think he's going to try to commit and kill that wolf. But the enemy chameleons are in position, and you're right. He needs to get out of there. Oh, look at him move so fast. Oh my god.
Good. Okay, good heads at play. He knew he might have lost his commander if he tried running through that, but okay, he needs to hold the button down, and he didn't, and lost his units. So, never mind.
Yeah, I was about to ask you why Scarecrow's chameleons kept unstealthing there.
I imagine he just let go, unless it was a bug, and he was holding down the button. That was a mistake on his part.
Oh, I didn't see the mole. That's what it was. That mole was what was triggering it because he wasn't holding down the button. I thought it was just the chameleons. But man, Darius.
Yeah. No Badger this time, unfortunately, and I think Darius is going to take this one pretty handily.
God, just the wolf man just buffing up all these chameleons, just beating down on his opponent ruthlessly. And Darius.
Yeah, with the wolf, it's sort of, I mentioned that all the DPS units were taken away, but along with the wolf, pretty much every unit becomes a DPS unit.
Yeah, that was great. All right, so that's going to be it for that round. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And the next match we're going to go into is going to be Surrender versus Darius Hart in the semifinals here. Let me go ahead and let them know losers round 3 can go ahead.
Unfortunately, we have to wait for losers round 2 first.
Oh, for that.
And depending if we finish semifinals beforehand.
Oh, you know
we
what?
might be able to see round 3, but we'll see.
Oh, because loser, yeah, because, wait, Scarecrow versus Firmar. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So Classic Metal's got a long wait ahead of them. We might actually be able to do losers round 3.
Indeed. All right, let's continue to see more wonky stuff like that.
Okay.
I think the wonkiness will come down to if we saw the tier 1 bands. We also got to see the simultaneous tier 2 bands. I think that's where the extra craziness will come from.
Could you do me a big favor, Ultima, and reach out to Surrender here on Discord? He's been pretty active, so.
Let me see if I can find him.
And in the meantime, I will get all the adjustments I gotta make here taken care of for the overlay.
Oh, wait. Oh, I see.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I really appreciate it, man. I'm having a blast here today. I'm sure Ultima is as well, and we appreciate all you guys tuning in, checking it out. It's always a lot of fun to be a part of Tooth and Tail tournaments, man. Let me see. Surrender. Okay. Versus Darius Hart. Did Darius? Yeah, Darius won that. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
2-1.
It's a pretty close match.
Do we know if the grand finals will be best of 3 as well, or is it going to be best of 5?
We can probably do a best of 5.
We can swing that.
I think that makes the most sense. Let me see. So, okay. So, yeah, I think we can stream Losers Round 3, right?
We could potentially, yes. Actually, no, most likely. It really depends at how long the Firmar Scarecrow game goes.
I think we'll be able to fit that in. We're actually making really good time. It's only been an hour and a half. It's only 1 o'clock here. No big deal. And we're already at the semifinals, Ultima.
Yeah, dude, we've been going pretty smoothly. No hiccups. It's been great.
Yeah, a little bit of bumpy road at the beginning with a couple players not checking in, but after that, dude, to be honest, that was actually pretty quick. And oh god, hang on, I got stuff to do. I mean, what? It delayed us like 10 minutes, and then everything after that's been pretty smooth. So we need to ask these guys what their bans are, and the bans should probably just be in the tournament channel anyways, in my opinion. So both players can easily see what they are. If you are talking to Surrender, No, here we go. And Darius, what are your bans? So I need to change that in my GUI here. Yeah, it makes more sense for it to just be in the tournament channel out in the open, so right, that way both players know about it easier. I think so. Grand Finals is best of 5, says Josh. Thank you very much, sir.
Cool.
Yeah, big shout out to Josh, man. He always puts together a tournament every month or so when there's a little bit of lull from other things. So really appreciate it, man. All right, so we've got the bans are in from Darius Hart. He's banning the snake, lizard, and mole. All right, and let's see what Surrender decides to do.
Well, if the other player doesn't ban Squirrel, we're gonna see squirrels.
Well, Surrender just messaged me his ban, but I asked him to post in the tournament, and actually he tried to ban Lizard and Mole anyways, so he might have to scratch his head and see what he's gonna do. Let's wait for his response.
Yeah, have him swap out that Lizard Mole.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, I just verified Surrender is just kind of scratching his head, thinking about what he wants to ban, since he was planning on banning Lizard and Mole as well.
Needs to be faster on that trigger.
And I do want to mention, yeah, Josh was saying best of 5 in the finals. There is no bracket reset on the finals, guys. Sometimes how it works. Okay, we got bans in from Surrender. He's getting rid of the Wolf, Badger, and Chameleon. Whoa. Oh, you know, that makes perfect sense, because he just saw Darius Hart dominate with the Wolf, Badger, and Chameleons in those previous matches, so. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah.
So I guess probably the smartest, I guess, player ban we've seen so far. Like, we know the 3 heroes he plays, so let's just ban him. Perfect.
Yeah, that was a really good meta knowledge ban for sure. You know, knowing my opponent likes to do this, so I'm gonna knock it out automatically. So, just to update you guys, the losers round 2 is going on, and that is Scarecrow versus Furmar, and the winner of that is gonna go up against Classic Metal, and we will be streaming that game as well. And whoever wins here in this best of 5 goes to the finals, Ultima.
Yeah, congrats to both of them for making this far. Although, I gotta be biased and say that I'm hoping for my boy Classic Metal makes it all the way back through losers bracket and takes the entire thing.
That would be really cool to see.
It happen.
I'd love to see anybody from the losers bracket come back, but it does kind of feel bad when there isn't a bracket reset if you are that guy who made it to the finals without losing a round, you know?
Yeah, but yeah, I know some people are sometimes a bit disappointed by that, but you know, it's the rules.
Yeah, man.
Follow the rule.
You agreed to it. But no, it's not the biggest deal in the world, and having the finals as a best of 5 anyways, you know, really helps out. Unless it was like super close, like it was a 3-2. You have somebody like 3-1s or 3-0s their opponent. It's like, okay, what's a bracket reset really gonna do? You know, I just dominated you. All right, here we go, guys.
All right.
Hopping into the semifinals here, spawning in the 6 o'clock position, we've got Surrender. And in the 1 o'clock, getting here off some really clutch plays in the last couple games, his opponent, Darius Hart. The Owls picked up here. That's the first time we've seen the Owl all tournament long.
Yeah, I'm surprised I've seen it banned so much. It must have been, I don't know, popular in ladder or something, or people just annoyed by it. So We've maybe seen it banned 2 or 3 times now, but now that it's not banned, I guess we're seeing it. And we haven't seen many standard-looking maps. We're getting a lot of very unique-looking ones, and I guess it's pretty fitting for this tournament.
Yeah, the RNG on the maps has been a little weird lately for sure. I wonder if Andy's been tweaking stuff on the back end, but yeah, the owl is like, it's just one of those things, you know. You get to the late game and you get out like 3 or 4 owls. What's your opponent really gonna do about it? But so maybe that's why people want to ban it. Which sounds a little worse than I made it just sound. I mean, think about it. You know, you get 3 or 4 tier 3 units out. That is so much army value, right? Like that is very expensive to accomplish.
Yeah, I guess you could say that does apply to most tier 3s.
Right. Yeah, you get out 2 or 3 badgers, you know, and they're gonna rock the house too. And yeah, this is definitely a weird looking map here, Ultima. Both players at least get a second base that's pretty reasonable, right? Darius getting that 12 o'clock and Surrender getting the one that's just slightly north of him. But the real contention on this map is going to be these 3 bases off to the right side that could really go to either player here.
Yeah, there'll be some awkward fights up there because of the water and the variation in high ground. Huh. I imagine someone will take this campfire at some point, and we'll see some early plays around there, no doubt. Especially if Darius decides to really structure heavy and place some balloons down. But I could also see him, as you said, take that right side, put some balloons down, and really take it for himself.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see where these guys want to take this game. You know, Surrender opting for that fast skunk. Now, makes a lot of sense to me, and Darius needs to get the read on that pretty quickly so he doesn't overproduce squirrels here. And he's got falcons, so as long as he sees that his opponent is going skunks, you know, kind of halts that squirrel production, goes into falcons, he's going to be into great shape approaching that big mid-game battle.
What's really important too is those squirrel pigeon numbers. Because if you get enough of those as well, they may not be able to heal all the squirrels dying from poison, but they'll definitely help a whole lot.
Yeah, that's a really good point, man. We've seen a lot of pigeons today. I wonder if that's because the general consensus in the community is pigeons are in a pretty decent spot right now, or if it's like, well, we've got 6 units banned, you know, I gotta pick something up. What do you think?
They're just really great utility. They keep your units alive and keep you alive long enough to survive the fight, especially since tanking has been such a important aspect of Tooth and Tail meta these days.
Gotta be careful here. Surrender identifying that Darius wants to expand and doesn't want to let him just do it for free, so he tries to take an engagement, but fantastic skunk clouds coming down. Is it gonna be enough, though? I think it is. Darius did kill those skunks, but they tanked like you were talking about there, Ultima. Now Surrender has a very favorable amount of squirrels here, but needs to be careful with good focus fire. He can't just let his units deal all that damage to the gristmill, not his opponent's units. And what a great engagement for Surrender. I was worried about him because he lost those skunks up front, but man.
Oh no. Surrender was in a great spot right there to attack from the high ground with the superior army numbers, but he committed really heavily to killing that mill, and he lost the falcon that was reinforcing immediately and his retreating units. So even though his Surrender was in a great spot there, if you look at the graph, it sort of just equalized once again. In fact, even Darius getting ahead.
Yeah, losing that, I think your oh no was perfectly timed, because that was going like great for Surrender, and then that falcon died, right? that was like, okay, now the balance, that was the one little bar, you know, making the scales balance in Darius's favor there, but did delay that second base, which was important, and it allows Surrender's second base to get up in a similar time now as Darius's.
Yeah, I would argue that it was GG in Surrender's favor, but that mistake really just equalized everything. But hopefully he can bounce back, you know, get back up to equal and get some great attacks by not running his units into barbed wire, hopefully.
And look at this, like, front line contestion point. I'd actually like to see him, once Darius is a little out of position, just run his skunks into that barbed wire, you know, kill it off, and let the pigeons heal it, no harm, no foul. But I mean, look at these little tiny chokes that these fights are going to happen in. That's ideal for skunks. Yeah, beautiful play out of Surrender here, knocking that barbed wire out, but gotta be careful, can't get out of position for it. Delthius nipping at the heels of his opponent, getting a couple tier 1 kills, and now that balloon's up, which is gonna really solidify this entire section for Delthius.
Yeah, he's pretty much guaranteed this next space to the right as well. While Surrender, I think will have, as long as he keeps his position where he is now, maybe gets an MG up, he'll be in a good spot to take this alongside that western base.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of going according to plan for Delthius. If I was Surrender, I would start thinking about that western base like you just mentioned. But Delthius has got the tier 3 here. He's got the owls.
Yeah.
If he can secure another base and macro up to like 2 of those, dude, it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be really scary for Render here. If the game goes on long enough, Delthius is gonna start spamming those owls, no doubt. I imagine we'll see like Falcon Owl, which is such a scary lineup to go against.
Oh yeah.
But if Surrender spams his own Falcons and gets a great composition of units, I can really see him just winning this out with just sheer numbers rather than sheer tier 3 power.
Yeah, but I'm worried for Surrender, man, because he doesn't even know about the owl here, and I don't think he's ever gonna find out until it's in his face. So, like, what's gonna be his answer to it? I mean, I guess just the numbers, like you just mentioned. Maybe if he's got enough pigeons where those mice come up and the squirrels can actually tank them and not bleed out too bad, right? Then the owl doesn't do a whole lot.
Surrender's gonna need to get as many Falcons as possible, just win out in air superiority, and that's how he's gonna win this.
I agree. Yeah, definitely, man. And if you are a new player, or if you maybe don't like tier 3 units so much, I would like to point out that Falcon is the tier 2 unit that just scales phenomenally into late game. I think most people consider Falcon a late game unit because of that. A couple Falcons is okay, but when you get up to 6, 8, or 10 Falcons backing up your front lines, I mean, that's a great amount of DPS.
And Delthius doesn't really have any kind of tanky unit, so if Render gets up enough of them, I think he's just gonna be able to melt whatever Delthius comes out with.
Yeah, but I think right now... go ahead.
I think in a sense it will come down to squirrel numbers in a way, being able to take down the Falcons as fast as possible. Oh no.
I don't think he can do it, man. I don't think Surrender is going to be able to break this position out of Delthius, and that's why I was about to predict I think Delthius is going to win this game in the long run. But as I say that, oh my god, Ultima, somehow, some way, Surrender broke the back of his opponent and is coming in here now. He's got to be careful not to overextend. And how do you think this is going to pan out?
Wow, I think the lack of takiness in Surrender's comp really came into play there. And even though there were 2 balloons shooting, they didn't hit their marks on the Falcons is where they needed to go.
Right.
So I think it was just bad, just superior positioning from Render. And it looked like he did take his squirrels through the barbed wire and they were going to start melting. I think it was sort of a bunched up there, so it was hard to really see. But now we see that owl come out for Delthius, and hopefully he doesn't lose it early. That's not what he wants to happen, and that's really great micro, bringing it back and forth, tanking where it needs to, and getting killed by the pigeons.
Yeah, but I guess Surrender overstayed his welcome there slightly after breaking the back of his opponent initially. Delthius somehow, man, stabilized and is just re-rallying incredibly hard here, and this might be too much.
Yeah, we see this time and time again. I think we've mentioned it a couple times. This tournament is like you win the initial fight and then you go in to try to do damage, but you just end up losing your army in return. So, and I think we're seeing that now with Delthius. He had the advantage. Now he's going to lose the owl.
Oh,
no.
That is huge. That definitely puts Surrender back in this game. And yeah, that's funny because Surrender came in, threw away his value, right? And then Delthius did the exact same thing by overextending. Yeah. It's so easy to overextend in Tooth and Tail, man. It really
just look at that bracket. We see Delthius ahead, and then he comes in, overextends, loses it, and then oh man.
Yeah, gotta be careful about that. And who was it? Was it Surrender? I think it was Surrender versus Classic Metal, where he had that ideal, like push 1, back out just the right amount of time, and then push 2. I think that was Surrender.
Yes. I've lost track.
Yeah, I just checked the bracket. I lost track too, man. Too many games, too many names. But yep, that was in that series for sure. So. All right, just waiting on these guys to ready up. Probably. Sorry, I got distracted by Discord. But yeah, these guys are thinking about how they're gonna come into this next game, and if I'm Surrender, I'm feeling great right now. You know, he's one win away from being able to relax, take a break, you know, get some lunch, enjoy the stream, and then wait around in the finals.
Feels good to sit, legs up high, waiting for that contender to walk in.
Yeah, man, that's the spot you want to be. You want to just relax, take a break. Oh, and here we go, guys. Spawning in the 6 o'clock, one game away from the finals. We've got Surrender. And his opponent in the 2 o'clock needs to take a victory here and in the next game to get to that finals nice and easy. We've got Delthius Hart. Now, don't forget, guys, there is a loser's bracket, so the tournament hopes are not gone if these guys lose this game here. But man, it would feel so great to sit around, wait 20, 30 minutes, you know, for that final to start, take a nice break, you know, go for a walk, stretch out. You know, so what do you think? You think we're gonna see aggression here?
Most likely. Surrender needs to react appropriately. Yeah, he's selling his warrens, or selling his. Ooh, he's going a bit slow. Ooh, didn't mean to do that. I don't think he means to do that. He needs to sell. Oh, he's wasting precious time.
That is the worst when you're trying to place a warren and you take that campfire.
Yeah.
Yeah, Delthius.
Delthius sort of delayed his squirrels a bit by blocking it with the farm, but okay, good response by having that MG on the high ground. So it looks like, but Delthius is repositioning, getting his squirrels out on the right side. And let's see if there's enough DPS from the squirrel to potentially kill.
That pathing, though, for that top squirrel needs to be careful. It's going to be difficult as his units rally over to try to wiggle them around that MG. And Delthius needs to be very careful here. Already bleeding off 2 squirrels and 3 barely live there. So nice hold by Surrender, especially considering the fact he's on the low ground and he doesn't have a nice spot to place defensive warrants.
Yeah, the reinforcement pathing for Delthius is a bit awkward there. If he would have continued his attack with that 1 mole closest to Surrender's base, he probably would have lost all of his squirrels to that MG. So good recognition from him and coming in for a more concentrated attack.
I don't like this, man. I think Surrender's got this position. He's got... Ooh, nice pick off there, though, on that building turret. That's 60 food down the drain for Surrender. That definitely helps Delthius's battle efforts here. Good micro, too, on these squirrels, trying to move the damaged ones to the back. That was actually very impressive.
This is where that pigeon warren really comes into play. And it looks like he's going to opt not to go for it, hoping that Surrender will continue to add on additional squirrels. Or no, it looks like they're now both going for skunks. So right now, a mirror matchup.
Yeah, I love this. I love the mind games that are involved. Like, I feel like, how am I trying to say this? Like, skunk is the tier 2 that you need to identify. I feel like more so than any other tier 2, if that makes sense. Like, you see, okay, yeah, your opponent took a tier 2, great. But if it's a skunk, you really need to know, okay, that's skunks that he's building. Because if you just start, you know, building a ton of tier 1, and you're unaware of the enemy skunk, you can get rolled over very easily in a fight.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. Like, skunks are so specific in the utility that they do. They're like really good against squirrels, and they interact not very well with mini units. So if you get just less squirrels out or just falcons to counter it, then it sort of nullifies the skunks in a way. So if you can identify them early, as you said, then you can really play around them quite easily, really.
Yeah, and I don't think at this point either player is aware of their opponent's skunks. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're about to find out now as Delthius is going to come in here and try to poke and prod at some of these warrens that are a little bit on the fringes of Surrender's base. And I don't see... Yeah, actually, can't run away like that, man. Delthius taking a lot of free damage here. Surrender going to knock this army out.
Actually, he was doing a bit of a stutter step there, trying to bait Surrender in through the gas. And considering that Darius also has pigeons, he's also healing. But I'd rather just see him go to a straight up fight now.
Ooh, skunk goes down. One skunk down for both players. Yeah, that stutter step is actually really important in squirrel and skunk engagements, for sure.
They're completely even on units right now, but one thing that Surrender has is the campfire plus the additional farm on that building mill. So right now, since it is even, Surrender is going to start getting ahead. And if he does decide to take an engagement here, even if he just trades, he's going to be ahead because he has that econ advantage.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, even just being a couple farms up makes the biggest difference in the world. If you guys keep trading evenly, taking fair fights, the guy who's got just 1 or 2 more farms is going to be able to repopulate faster, going to be able to sneak in an extra squirrel warren or 2 or whatever he needs and get an edge. But I love this fox out of Delthius, man. He hasn't taken it yet, but I'm staring at it, man. That could make a big difference this game. Surrender really doesn't have much answers to a fox here. He's got turret, and that's about it. But we'll see if that even comes up. But oh no!
Oh no, he lost his commander. Oh.
Oh, that's the worst, dude. That is the worst feeling in Tooth and Tail. That, like, I pride myself on the fact that I'm pretty level-headed. You know, I don't get mad when I lose games and things of that nature. But man, I get real close when that happens to me, dude. Because I feel so bad for Surrender, man. Like, that is just the worst thing in the world in Tooth and Tail is when your commander goes down in a fight that would have been pretty even, you know, and then all of a sudden you just get completely rolled over.
Yeah, it feels awful when you have no control over the outcome of anything. And it was crazy, too. If he had at least a little bit of control over his army, he might have been able to take that, really, because his units are doing pretty well on their own. But Darius coming out of that with no loss tier 2, but Surrender losing both of his. So a bit of a loss in tempo there, and now it looks like they're back to even.
Yeah, take a look at that army value graph, man. Oh.
Ooh, that army, though, yeah.
That is no joke. That's fallen faster than my GPA did when I discovered StarCraft Ultima. All right, let's see. Darius is coming in here, trying to poke in and get a good position for another fight, but backs out for now. And you got to be careful here. I mean, I know we were talking about how Surrender just lost that fight very poorly, but you got to remember, until recently, Surrender had a big economic advantage. So he's not out of this game yet. And this next fight is going to be very, very important. You know, it could decide the outcome of this entire game here.
Yeah, both players need to be really careful right now. And I don't think the stutter stepping kind of maneuvers is going to work as well as they could have at the beginning of the game because both players are, well, Surrender is pretty saturated on pigeons right now, so any kind of stray skunk gas won't do as much as it would have.
Yeah, but Darius is playing this fantastically, man. Just buying his time. Those 2 balloons. Now, granted, we've seen before. We saw in the previous game. Those balloons don't necessarily. It really depends on what they target, right? Like if they're killing a pigeon or a squirrel, for example. You know, if they get those shots off on the falcons that he's really looking for, that would be a big deal.
Indeed. I'd like to see Darius start working towards that fox at some point. That could really be the game changer here.
And now that I look at the rest of this map, though, Surrender doesn't have any more options here. The rest of the Grismos on the map pretty clearly belong to Darius Hart, right?
Indeed. I mean, Surrender could swing wide left and attack from the side, which would probably be his best chance, or his best option right now, instead of going straight into those balloons.
Yeah, but Surrender's got to figure something out quick, man. Oh, man, he's not at home. Bleeding off free units. Great micro out of Darius there with that Falcon.
Yeah, the squirrels started getting hit from the Falcons, and then the pigeons went to go heal, but they ended up dying in their stead.
Yeah, it's really on Surrender right now, and I think Darius is playing this completely correct. Yeah, even a 3rd balloon, why not? He doesn't have to be cost effective. He doesn't have to build the biggest army in the world. He just needs to be unbreakable. And here we go. Surrender's kind of seeing the writing on the walls, I guess, and decides I got to hard engage right now or this is going to get worse. Just more and more balloons and a bigger economy for my opponent. But 3 balloons, Ultima, is a lot of DPS, and Darius takes that fight pretty handily.
Yeah, I'm confused as to why Surrender didn't just go around the balloons. He didn't need to attack right there. He could have went left. He could have just went left, and I think those balloons did enough to sort of whittle his army down as he came in. Now, hopefully, we don't see Darius overextend too much here. He gets what he can and just leaves. Let's see if Surrender can make a good defense here. Unfortunately, losing another Falcon, and right now he's supply blocked in his Falcon tier 2. And he has no other tier 2s coming out right now, and he decides to... Ooh, that sudden drop.
Dude, beautiful game. And I'm actually kind of glad Darius won there. Sorry, I was a little distracted reading Twitch chat. But yeah, now we get to go to a game 3, which is super cool. Somebody's asking about owl skins. I don't have Glorious AFB's owl skin. I actually need to talk to him. I didn't realize that he made such fantastic skins as well. I believe the fox skin I have is from him, the kind of Splinter Cell ghost looking skin. Have you seen that skin, Ultima? It's really cool, actually. It reminds me of like a ghost from StarCraft or something.
Yeah, it also reminded me of Raylin from Awesome Knots, if you've ever played that game.
Oh yeah, no,
very similar.
I haven't, but I've heard it was good. I do have the zombie mice skin on though, which is a pretty good one. If we get to see the mice.
Aren't there mice already zombies? So they're double zombies.
Yeah, they look like that that green, that dark green and red. You know what I'm talking about? Kind of zombie.
I see.
Yeah. All right, so here we go, guys. The winner of this game advances to the finals. In the 3 o'clock position, we've got Darius Hart and his opponent, Surrender. Surrender running the same setup here, and I believe Darius is as well. Am I correct there?
Yes. Yep. Pretty much.
Now Darius doesn't have good positions to place forward warrants here, and I kind of like Surrender's spot on this map better, to be perfectly honest. I mean, Surrender's got these nice 3 expansions all around him on that high ground there. I mean, those are just easy for Surrender to take. And meanwhile, Darius, didn't get screwed out on economic opportunities either. He's got several gristmills around him, but there's high ground all around him, Ultima, and high ground around your base is not the best thing in the world.
Yeah, this map really isn't too bad for either player. There's opportunities for both players to make fairly standard plays to their expansions. But yeah, I would agree that Surrender is in a better spot if he decides to be aggressive early and take this high ground initiative.
Yeah, I think overall it's pretty even. I don't want to be too dramatic about the map RNG here. We've seen much worse situations. I mean, Darius cannot be complaining. He's got 2 bases and a campfire right there. Even if there's some high ground right around it, so what? Man up, get up there, throw down a couple balloons, and you'll probably be fine.
And if he wants to, he could. There is actually a little ledge to go up to that high ground behind his base to the south, where he could hide some warrants up there if he needs to.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that he actually had access to that, so that's actually really good, because that's what feels the worst about being on these little islands like this, is where you're just looking around and you're like, I can't place a 7th warrant, Wow, really quick expansion from Darius Hart here, and meanwhile Surrender going for a pretty quick skunk, not a crazy fast skunk, but my plan is to get up to a relatively fast tier 2, kind of deal.
This is interesting, actually. If Surrender had instead spammed squirrels instead of skunks, he could have pushed into this balloon on the low ground. But getting the skunks allowed Darius to get up the balloon in a fairly safe timing.
Yeah,
now he's getting a second one.
Ooh, yeah, that's actually a really good point because Darius had invested money into that balloon, into the gristmill. Surrender would have just had tier 1. He could have maybe gone in there and run it over, but I'm not counting out Surrender's attacking capability yet. Now, that second balloon makes it hard, but I was going to say one balloon, you know, you go in there, some good skunk gas, you might be able to take a good engagement still.
And Darius is jumping for that fox now fairly early. And oh, look at that, and Surrender's going for just straight up eco. So it looks like Darius will most likely get this fox out because it doesn't look like Surrender's going for any aggression anytime soon. Unless he sniffs out that Darius doesn't have any farms and he decides to sell to maybe prepare for an incoming attack.
Oh, actually, that's a really important detail here. The fact that Darius has not taken a single farm on this gristmill, and meanwhile Surrender is saturating up really quickly, so Darius is going to have a better army, but you got to think right now Darius does have 360 food invested into this fox, at least when he can afford it. So Darius just wants to hold on, get that fox out, and he's got this great line established. You know, the fox can run up, it's got balloon vision helping it out for the high ground, you know, poke and prod, run back to the balloon if things get too dicey.
And Surrender must be feeling something spooky because he scouted earlier and again didn't see any farms. So hopefully he's feeling something. Usually a smart move is when you know an opponent is going for tier 3 is to just get as many farms out and defend as best as you can. So that might be what he's doing here. He's just hoping that when the tier 3 does end up coming out, he's just going to be able to defend against it.
Yeah, you got a couple options when you scout. For one, if you are a new player and having trouble with tier 3 from your opponent, the most important thing is that you scout it. And the earlier you scout it, the more time you'll have to respond. But you can either take your own tier 3, you can go for an all-in while they have so much money wrapped in it before it gets out. Or yeah, like AV Ultima said, you can just try to get swole, man, and try to macro up harder. Here we go, the fox is here with some good micro. Surrender doesn't have anything like lizards or wolves or defensive structures, which are probably, in my opinion, as a fox player, the best answer to a fox. But yeah, Surrender is opting to go ahead and hard engage, which I know looks a little weird here, but sometimes that's the correct move to make, because if you sit around and just get poked upon, you know, you're gonna lose stuff over time. So he's like, I'm hoping I can break my opponent's back right here, right now, before I take too much damage from the poke. But it didn't work for him. Darius held that amazingly, and that's gonna be it. Darius goes to the finals.
Yeah, in the heat of the moment, I guess he felt sort of lost, like, oh no, he has a fox, and he's just going to pick me off, so I got to go in, but he also has a ton of defense, so it's like caught between many rocks and many hard places.
All right, guys, we are currently waiting on a match to finish, so I think me and you have earned a 5-minute break, Ultimo. What do you think?
Sure thing.
All right, guys, so we're going to take a little break. We'll be back in just a few minutes, kind of waiting for a match to finish up. And the next match is going to be Losers Round 3, Classic Metal versus winner of Scarecrow or Furmar. So don't go anywhere, and we'll see you guys soon. I should probably put on the break screen. Boom, there we go. All right, everybody, we are back, or at least I'm back. Are you, wrong one. Are you there, Ultima? No worries. I think Ultima is still on a break. No big deal. We are just waiting. It's not actually... Darius had asked me if he could take a break, I think, in the Twitch chat while I was gone. Darius, you've actually got a good amount of time. Let me see if I can message him real quick. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. All right, so let me message Ultima. All right, so let me check the brackets real quick, see where we're at. It looks like Scarecrow vs. Furmar is still going on. So we need to wait for that to finish. And I guess I can update my scoreboard here while we're waiting. Yeah, so next round we're gonna go into, guys. Actually, let me just show you guys the brackets while I have a little bit of downtime here. This one? Yeah. Okay, so Darius Art advanced. He's now sitting comfortably in the finals, but we're waiting on Scarecrow and Furmar to finish up, and the winner of that is gonna go up against Classic Metal, and then the winner of that's gonna go up against Surrender. Right, and then those are both going to be 2 out of 3s, and the finals are going to be the winner of that versus Darius Art. And it looks like Furmar actually just finished his game up against Scarecrow, taking a 2-1 victory.
I am back.
What is up, Ultima?
And I heard that wow, okay, perfect timing. They just finished up their game. So we're ready to, I guess, go in whenever.
Oh, I gotta, oh no, I hope Darius didn't go AFK while sitting in our thing here.
Oh, he probably did. Is there a way to... Oh, no. There we go.
Okay, let me adjust the scoreboard. Had 3 20-minute matches. Jeez, man. All right, what else do I need to update here? This one? That one? No. This one. Okay, where are we at? We are in losers round 3. Let me adjust this. Beautiful. Okay. So now we are waiting on these guys to decide on what their bans are gonna be. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and remove the old bands so that is not confusing. Man, I was fiddling around in Photoshop last night while watching the GSL, and it took me forever to realize you don't want to use... You probably know, because your overlays are amazing, Ultima, but you got to stay away from that rectangle tool and instead use, like, the selection thing or whatever. Ugh. Once I figured that out, it wasn't too difficult. Yeah, Pillow 8 in the tournament chat says somebody should ban Squirrel Lizard Mole. That's funny. Oh, it looks like Ultima's gotta go. So I will be doing this solo bolo for the rest of the stream. No problem at all. Stuff happens. So...
Yeah, guys, good luck. Congrats to whoever makes it to grand finals. I hope Classic Metal takes it, but I have to head out. Good luck to all players, and good luck to you, Delthius, the rest of the stream.
Hey, man, it's always a pleasure casting with you, and I look forward to the next time we get the opportunity.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Take care.
See ya.
Take care, man. All right. So you guys are just stuck with me now for the rest of the show. No big deal. I'm sure I can keep it interesting enough for you. Okay, so the bans from Firmar have come in. Firmar opting for the Boar, Snake, Badger ban. Meanwhile, Classic Metal bans Pigeons, Badger, Squirrel. I let him know Badger's already banned. So let's see if he wants to pick another one. I think that's kind of how we're doing it here. Let's see what he decides. Boar, Snake, Badge, and Pigeon, Squirrel so far. Boar is already taken too. Ah. Okay, so Owl coming in for Classic Metal. Let me make sure these guys know what the bans are in the tournament section. Alright, so total bans here. We've got Boar, Snake, Badger, Pigeon, Squirrel, Owl. I guess I should be consistent with my capitalization here, right? Beautiful. There we go. Look at Sharp. On my little scoreboard overlay I made last night while trying to figure out Photoshop. Alright, so we're in the deck selection process now, guys. Let's see what these players opt for, working within the parameters of the bans here. No Pigeon, no Squirrel, no Badger, no Boar, no Snake, no Owl. So Fox is on the table. We're going to see Lizards here from sure, and I think that's really smart from Classic Metal to pick up the Toads, you know, knowing that Squirrels are not allowed in this game. Firmar doesn't kind of realize this. It's gonna put Classic Metal in a great in a great spot. And the only tier 3 unit available, actually no, they could pick either Wolf or Fox. So I wonder if Classic Metal is gonna opt to go for a tier 3 or just roll with tier 2 mainly here. Still kind of deciding. There's the last few picks here coming out for Classic Metal. Looks like he's got one more unit to choose and trying to decide on exactly what that's going to be. It's pretty important, you know. This is the decision. Is he going to go for a tier 2 or try to get in a tier 3? And it looks like he's going to opt for another tier 2. Pretty kind of standard deck coming out of Classic Metal. And here we go, guys. Spawning in the 12 o'clock position, we've got Firmar. And his opponent in the 6, Classic Metal. Alright, so neither player has moles, but we could see aggression in the form of a 5-farm double Lizard Warren come out of either of these players, so I want to keep an eye out for that coming into the early game here. But so far, nothing crazy. Firmar does opt to take a 5-farm Warren opening, which is just safe, you know? It's not nothing crazy. He's not necessarily committing to aggression, but if he doesn't commit to aggression, then Classic Metal kind of wins the early game, but instead pivots a little bit just in case, which I like out of Classic Metal a lot, because if Firmar does decide to go for a 5-farm double here, Classic Metal went for a 6-farm Warren. So he should be in pretty decent shape to hold that. Yeah, and Classic Metal even preempting, assuming Firmar is going for that 5-farm double. And now it looks like he's going to go up to 2 Lizard Warrens. So nothing like hyper aggressive or hyper greedy from either of these players, to be perfectly honest. Kind of respecting each other. You know, this is an important match. Both these players want to make it to the finals here. And, you know, just playing it safe. And now I feel like both players should feel comfortable enough to go up to 8 farms. And Firmar really needs to get that 8th farm down. You don't want to slack around or mess around at all, really, with your economic opening too much. It is very critical. You get those farms up pretty quickly. So as long as Firmar takes that 8th farm here shortly, he should be in good shape. That's probably what he's going back to his base to do right now. There he goes, perfect. I like this one little mine kind of covering a runaround path that Classic Metal could probably utilize, and look how much vision that gives to Firmar. So really cool to see that. But now Firmar can't be happy, man. Seeing the toads from Classic Metal, it's going to put a lot of pressure on him because he doesn't have a real answer to that anytime soon. He does have chameleons now, which with some good micro, the chameleons can soak those toad shots, but chameleons are not here, right now. And Classic Metal realizes, I've got the toads, he doesn't. I'm in great shape, takes a fantastic engagement, already punishing the hell out of Firmar here, getting a campfire, coming in here for a Warren. Needs to be careful not to overextend. He doesn't have any toads left here on the front line, but he's got enough momentum by the looks of it. As long as he's careful with that toad, yeah, he annihilates basically everything Firmar's got. Now he's overextending a little bit, but all Classic Metal's got to do to win from here is just kind of pull back for a second, you know, regroup with his army. Unfortunately, his commander did die there, but got a ton done in this engagement, and killing those 2 farms on the back end of it was exactly what Classic Metal needed there. And I really don't think Firmar is long for this world. Classic Metal should have enough momentum. You know, killing those Warrens is really what put the nail in the coffin for Firmar that game. And short and sweet, lots of aggression. And we're going to hop right into match number 2 here. So if I'm Firmar in this position, I feel like you really need to get you really need to take toads this time around, right? I think Firmar was hoping taking the chameleons would make it so where he wouldn't need the toads, but Classic Metal very smartly put on a lot of pressure there and really utilized that window, you know, where he had the lizard toad for just lizard before the chameleons were able to get out, and took a very quick, clean victory from some aggressive play. But Firmar flirting with the idea of not taking lizards. Yeah, he's gonna have to rethink his deck selection completely here, and figure out what's gonna work best. I hope everybody's enjoying the show, guys. Big shout out to Josh for putting this together. All the players who participated in the tournament. AV Ultima for helping me cast it, and here we go, guys. Match number 2. Spawning in the 12 o'clock, we've got Firmar. And his opponent in the 8, Classic Metal. And Classic Metal's got to be feeling good, man. It's always, in any RTS game, really, you know, opening up that first match with an aggressive build really puts your opponent in a difficult mental state, because now Firmar is going to be questioning himself, like, is Classic Metal going to rush again? But instead, Firmar here going for some aggression. And interesting, he only decided for a 4-farm lizard instead of a 4-farm double lizard. But Classic Metal's going to scout it right now. And yeah, instead he's opting to use the rest of his food here for some moles, which is what I assumed he'd do. So now he's got a mole coming out already. He needs to be careful. Nice, he's able to force a sell on that farm for Classic Metal. Classic Metal did get 25 food back from it. Very important to micro correctly here for Firmar. Can't afford to lose any units, but really can't even afford to take damage on units. If you notice, he's running back to heal up, you know, to keep his macro going, but he wants to keep this pressure on. He needs to wait a second for that mole to heal to get full value, but this window is closing. And, you know, now that Firmar planted that farm, once that gets up and running, they'll be on equal economy. The graphs kind of lie a little bit, you know, right? If you notice, it says they're even right now, but Firmar's farm's still building, so that it's not actually going to be even until that farm completes. So, you know, Classic Metal's got the answer for this. I think the window is gone. I'd love to see Firmar sell off that mole and macro up. You know, and he's got to get out fast chameleons, I feel like, because if not, you know, Classic Metal is just gonna kind of do the same thing he did last game. You know, beat lizards with Lizard Toad. So if I'm Firmar in this game, I'm taking the rest of those farms, and I'm trying to get out my chameleons. That's really what he needs. And Classic Metal's gonna come in, and he's got to feel great with that scout. And here we go. The chameleons are on the way. Firmar realizes, you know, he really can't take a fight against the toads of his opponent until he has those chameleons up on the front line to tank. But what I'm worried for is the economy here. You know, Firmar hasn't found the opportunity yet to take the last couple farms, which is incredibly important, guys. Like, the rate that your income is accelerating in the early game is so important. I mean, look at the income advantage that Classic Metal is enjoying and has been enjoying for a minute now. And the longer Firmar waits to take those 7th and 8th farms, the worse and worse position he's going to be in. But instead, he wants to keep a little bit of that money free to finance these chameleons. One chameleon's out. Firmar really needs to get in position, but he doesn't see everything we see, so you can't pick on him too much. He's just now realizing that Classic Metal is here, ready to rock and roll. He needs to get that chameleon up to the front lines immediately, and here it comes now. A little bit of missed micro from Classic Metal, losing a toad for nothing there. That definitely helps out Camp Firmar. And Firmar, yeah, there he goes. Now taking those last couple expansions, farms rather. But I just feel like Classic Metal's in a phenomenal shape here, especially, yeah, and these moles, man. The moles are a sign that I'm ready to go all in right here, right now. You know, I don't expect Classic Metal to sit around with these moles. He's gonna use these moles to knock out some of these fencing, barbed wire, and tank a little bit of the front lines. Still gets really great toad connections, even with those chameleons. And those toads actually were rock stars in that engagement. You know, not only did they blow up on the chameleons, get some damage done to them, but everything was kind of clumped up for Firmar there. And even though those chameleons did get blown up upon, so did all of Firmar's lizards. And that's going to be it. A very quick round. Classic Metal taking a 2-0 victory against his opponent. And now we are going to hop in against Surrender. Let me message Surrender. Okay. Great job, guys. And in the meantime, while we wait for Surrender to get here, I'll go ahead and do some back-end stuff and try to get my scoreboard looking good. So we are in, I guess I'll just call this Losers Finals. Cool, beautiful. I can get the bands reset. Yeah, very clean victories there for Classic Metal. And let's go ahead and do that and Surrender. Beautiful. All right. Now let me get the bands. We are just waiting on these guys to ban, and then we will hop into this. Whoever wins this round advances to the finals of the tournament. Surrender opting to ban lizards, balloons, and snakes. Classic Metal banning pigeon, badger, squirrel. Give me 1 second, guys, while I update this overlay. Man, I worked way too hard on this overlay. Like, I know it's not that impressive, but I put a lot of work into it, guys. Try to make the production value as best as I can. I fumbled through trying to learn Photoshop at like midnight last night. I don't think it turned out too bad, though. And here we go, guys, hopping into the first match. Whoever wins this 2 out of 3 advances to the finals to face off against Delthius Hart in a best-of-5 match. Let's see what these players opt for here. Alright, what are the bans again? I can't see the overlay live. Okay, so they can't pick lizard, balloon, snake, pigeon, badger, or squirrel. Oh, no lizard or squirrel this game. I don't know why that took me so long to register that. So, real interesting. Mole ban, or moles coming out for both players. It makes a lot of sense because you don't have a whole lot of other options for your tier 1. But we might see some crazy stuff this game like we saw in previous games to compensate for it. A fast ferret, you know. I think that worked really well. Lots of chameleons. And these guys are almost ready here. Thinking about their last couple picks. And here we go, just waiting on Classic Metal to lock it in. And we will be going to game number 1 here of the Losers Finals. Alright, spawning in the 5 o'clock, we've got Classic Metal. And Surrender in the 9 o'clock. Toad Rush is coming, says Scarecrow. Hey Boofy, thanks for the compliment on my scoreboard, man. Yeah, I'm interested to see what these guys are gonna go for. Mold Rushes are definitely an option. You know, typically Classic Metal likes to go up to that 8 farm opening when he can. But he doesn't always just do that, you know, because he can't, or else he'll just die. Yeah, if you notice, that's what Classic Metal wants to do. But he's going to stay really on top of his opponent's base and make sure he doesn't get punished for it. And that's exactly what Surrender's looking to do here. Now, if Classic Metal is paying very close attention to that math, he should notice a little bit of money is missing. And sure enough, he did. He's going to decide to try to answer this Mole Rush with a couple mines, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Mole number 1 gets in here. Surrender needs to be very careful to not let his commander die, which is gonna happen. And this is gonna be a great hole for Classic Metal. Killing 2 moles, only losing a farm, and I think he lost a couple mines there as well. But overall, not terrible for Surrender either, right? I mean, if you look at it, Surrender actually started his 8 farms before Classic Metal did. So, Classic Metal does have an extra couple mines on the board, but that's not going to matter so much, right? Like, really what matters here is how fast both players got to that 8 farm economy, but Classic Metal wasn't terribly behind on it, right? So we're talking just little minute type things there. It shouldn't make the biggest deal in the world, and here we go. Both players opting to go for Falcon first, which is kind of cool because you'd almost expect like a ferret or a chameleon first, right? And the Falcon basically counters that. So both players, assuming their opponent is going to go for something a little more meaty on the ground first and opting to get that Falcon to counter it. So we're going to get into an air battle very shortly here. Nice campfire by Surrender, basically given to him there. It looks like Classic Metal was scouting about, you know, crossing his fingers, hoping he could find a campfire. Sure enough, doesn't. And let's see how these guys are gonna take it, man. We're gonna get some crazy Falcon versus Falcon plays here. And really, we might end up in this game of chicken on Falcon production, right? Like, if that's really what we're doing here, you can't really afford to fit in any other units. I mean, chameleons and ferrets are not gonna help your Falcons out. And, if this game progresses and Surrender can manage to secure these top bases, keep his economy going, get up to a wolf, you know, he's gonna dominate Classic Metal in the late game if it's just Falcon versus Falcon Wolf. But getting to the late game is not gonna be easy for Surrender. You know, Classic Metal has got much easier gristmills to take on this map. You know, expanding for Surrender is not out of the question. He does have a couple options to the north, but they're gonna be difficult to take. Meanwhile, Classic is just blessed with all these bases, nice and easy, in his lawn, basically, so. Lots of water on this map, and that's actually kind of cool because we're going into this, like, Falcon play. Falcon movement speed not affected by the water, of course, but your commander controlling them is. So let's see the targeting, which is going to be very critical here. Classic Metal a little better with his targeting and is going to barely come out on top on this fight. Yeah, that's actually, the targeting mattered a lot there because Surrender came into that with a little bit more than Classic Metal did. And Classic Metal still was able to take it out. Just because he was focus firing his opponent's Falcons, and Surrender wasn't at the beginning of the fight. I think as the fight progressed, he started to. And Surrender, oh, that's unfortunate for Surrender. Surrender never got around to scouting the northern part of this map, so he might feel like he's in a much worse position with the map RNG than he actually is. And he was like, you know what, the only way I'm going to get a second base is if I take this one right here, but he's got 2 bases up into 12 o'clock. That would be perfect for him. But that money he invested in trying to expand there, I believe he tried to put something else down besides a gristmill. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe a warren or something was there. Maybe it was a building mole perhaps, but... yeah, that's rough for Surrender. I didn't even notice that he was trying to expand there, and he just doesn't know that he's got a few options up top. Yeah, and this... okay, so with the knowledge that Surrender has... you know, this is kind of what you have to do. I know it's difficult to take the space, but you got to get a second base up, man. We're about to approach 5 minutes. You know, Classic Metal's second base is killing it right now, almost at full saturation. And Classic Metal's really ahead in every way this game. He's got the economy advantage, he's got the army advantage. Surrender realizes it and taps out. And man, if he checks that replay, he's going to be kicking himself after he sees he could have taken a much easier expansion to the north. And that kind of points out the importance of really getting a full scout on the map. Like, I know it's difficult because you have to, like, balance, you know, scouting your opponent constantly. But in my opinion, like, how do I normally do it? Okay, my first 2 scouts are typically on my opponent. And then my 3rd scout, I try to scout the entire map. I believe that's how I do it. Because scout number 1 and number 2 have to be on your opponent. Because if you just rely on scout number 1, they could mind game you, right? And sell off a bunch of farms, build a couple warrens, and come at your base, and you're screwed. So it's important to scout your opponent, number 1 priority, and then scout them again. But I feel like either scout number 3 or scout number 4, that's really when you need to take the time and get a lay of the land. Otherwise, things like that can happen where, you know, you're just not aware of some other options that you have. All right, these guys thinking about it. Okay, I like it, man. Boxes coming out from both players. And the wolf for Surrender. He really wants to get to the late game this time around. Maybe that's where he feels more comfortable. Classic Metal just deciding on that last pick to round out his army composition. I'm not sure if I said this already, but earlier in the tournament chat, Pillow was like, I would ban Squirrel, Lizard, Mole. I know, I was talking about that earlier, man. I would do the exact same thing if I was in this tournament. Just to force some crazy games, man. Well, here we go. Spawning in the 6 o'clock with his tournament life on the line. It is Surrender. And spawning in the 10 o'clock, just needing to win one more game here to advance to the finals and take on Darius Hart. It's Classic Metal. Alright, so no crazy aggression this time around. Well, as I say that, Surrender might be thinking about placing a mole. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at it the wrong way. My bad, guys. Yeah, no, okay, so both players in that gentleman's agreement Gonna go straight up to 8 farms, or at the very least a 7 farm Warren. And we're gonna take the game into the mid game, it looks like. Classic Metal hanging out outside of Hopper's base, just saying hi. Looks like he might be trying to make Surrender think he might be making a mole, which he certainly could. And that's gonna be rough for Surrender. He's gotta make a mole of his own, cancel real quick, just a couple mind games. I don't think Classic Metal is gonna commit to this attack, yeah. Just kind of messing with his opponent a little bit, keeping him on the toes. And let's see if these guys opt to go into that Falcon versus Falcon style we saw last game, where target firing, man, is incredibly important. And sure enough, that's what they go for. But this time around, as long as Surrender gets a better scout out, he should be feeling better. I mean, Surrender obviously has this nice expansion in his front lawn here. Ooh, that is a great move from Classic Metal, trying to take advantage of the Warren positioning for Surrender here. And oh my god, this is gonna do a lot of damage here. Surrender was not prepared for this, and he can't lose his tier 2 Warren, because that's gonna put him so far behind. And oh my god, yeah, I was gonna say, probably has got to tap out. And Classic Metal, with some good mole pressure, advances to the finals. Great play out of both players there. I need to get a hold of Delthius Hearts. Okay, guys, getting ready for the finals here. Let me adjust a couple things on my end while I wait for these players. Kaboom. Alright, it's gonna be Classic Metal versus Delthius Hearts, indeed. Okay. Let us reset the bands. If you're just tuning in, guys, you joined us at a good time here, because we are about to go into the grand finals of Josh's Spring Showdown tournament, which has been a crazy day with the band system involved. So Delthius is trying to get into the lobby at the moment. Just give us one sec. Okay, Classic Metal requesting a little break. No problem. And Delthius Heart is here. Let's see if they want to do you guys want to... I'm going to see if they actually want to, like, you know, one guy says a band and the other guy says a band. Let me see. Alright, so we're at the grand finals here, guys. Classic Metal needs a little breather. I don't blame them. And waiting for them to get back. I'm trying to figure out if they want to do like a draft style ban, you know, where Classic says, I ban lizards, and Delthius says, I ban squirrels, and they go back and forth like that since it's the finals. Or if they just want to, you know, list all three of them. Whatever the players want to do, guys. We're pretty chill here. It's just for fun. I might put best of 5 there. Grand finals, best of 5. There we go. Alright, so Classic Metal got knocked out into the losers round pretty early on in the tournament, losing to Surrender, but got the revenge match in losers round 4 and was able to take the win against him 2-0. And Delthius here hasn't dropped a set yet. Delthius has been on fire today. Sorry guys, got a little bit of a lull. Up to metal. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do a draft style. Classic Metal is gonna start since Darius has winner's advantage. He'll get the last ban. So Classic Metal opting to ban Pigeon, and let's see what Darius responds with. All right, Darius gets rid of the lizard. Classic Metal gets rid of the squirrel. All right, somebody ban Mole, guys. And we'll have a crazy match on our hands. Let's see what Darius decides to do next. Darius bans the Mole. Sweet. All right. This game is going to be absolutely crazy, guys. If you're not that familiar with Tooth and Tail, maybe, squirrels and lizards are like your bread and butter. You gotta have at least one of them in your deck type units. So just those being banned is crazy. But that's how we've seen players react to that, is they go for moles instead in the early game, which are these units that you can build without a Warren. You can build them anywhere. So they kind of bridge that gap of needing an early game strong unit. But that's been banned here as well. So actually 4 out of 5, only Toads left in tier 1. Almost all tier 1 has been banned this game. I think a Fox ban would make sense. I think Fox microed really well, seems pretty powerful. Classic Metal going for the Falcon ban though. So Pillow H should be happy, no more boring Falcon games here. And the last ban goes to Darius Hart. Since we're not gonna do a bracket reset. Oh, wait. Did they change it? Let me see. I'm confused. Maybe Darius was not aware of no bracket reset. Okay, Darius bans Snake at the end. Alright, sorry guys, just making sure everybody's on the same page here. A little bit of talk back and forth between the players. Okay, Josh reaffirming that it is a best of 5 and no bracket reset. All right. Bans are Squirrel, Lizard, Pigeon, Mole, Falcon, Snake. So let's see how these guys go. Sorry about the delay, guys. Since this is the finals, we thought it'd be a little more fun to do a draft style of the bands, and that gives Darius a little bit of an advantage. If you aren't familiar with loser elimination tournaments, what a bracket reset means is that if Classic Metal were to win this best of 5, if there was a bracket reset, then they would go into another best of 5. And the idea behind that is Darius hasn't dropped a set, right? But we're not doing a bracket reset just for the sake of time. Sometimes in losers elimination tournaments we don't do bracket resets, and that's perfectly fine too. I just wanted to make sure all the players were clear on that going into it. So I figured give Darius a little bit of an advantage by allowing him to get the last ban, since we aren't doing a reset. Okay, so I'm interested to see how these guys play around this here. I don't think either player is going to pick up the Toad, obviously, right? And then, so basically, no tier 1, because there's no point in just taking Toads. And then no Falcon or Snake either, right? So anything else is fair game. Oh wait, Darius opting for Falcon. Falcon's banned. Hang on, sorry guys. One of them picked the banned unit. Okay, alright. Now they're aware of it. They're fixing it. Here we go. Alright, that looks good. Now we're ready, guys, to hop into the grand finals. Which is going to be a best of 5 here. Something to remember is that turret rushing is good and moles have structure crit to kill mills. That's very true, actually. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense why these guys are opting for so much defense here, because if your opponent structure rushes you, right, what are you going to do about it? Really, your only option here would be throwing up some defensive structures of your own. No, you can't. Sorry, man. Darius really wants to take Falcons. Oh, man. Okay. Alright, this looks pretty good. Ooh, Classic Metal actually opting for the Toads, maybe to deal with structures himself. Alright, here we go. His Toads will crit structures too, but here we go, guys. Grand Finals, match number 1, spawning into 3 o'clock. We've got Darius Hart. And his opponent on the left, spawning in the 9 o'clock, Classic Metal. The chat trolling. Toad and 5 structures or else, but here we go, man. Both players kind of taking a look at their opponent's base, kind of scouting around to see if they can do structure rushing, and Darius Hart is getting started. Classic Metal is going to scout it immediately, which means that Classic should be able to respond to this just fine by placing a turret right around this gristmill, and Darius is going to have to cancel this and pull back, unless he's going to let the gristmill finish and throw down a couple turrets anyways, which he certainly can do outside of the range of his opponent's turret. Yeah, he's going to commit to this attack, and let's see, ooh, if Darius can do it. It's gonna be nuts. He needs to target the right turret here. Is this where we're at now? And wow, Darius getting held on this attack fairly well. Classic Metal with the great defense of the turret rush, and Classic Metal's gotta be feeling great now. Way ahead, you know, he killed 2 turrets there. He killed a gristmill, so that's 180 food, and meanwhile, Darius only managed to kill 1 turret from his opponent, and Darius is not messing around, man. He's going to follow this up with a Chameleon Rush, which is going to get scouted immediately by Classic Metal, and he's got to assume, actually, I have no idea. Well, there's no Falcons this game, so he's got to assume that's a chameleon, I would imagine. And let's see how quickly Delthius is not super worried about eco here, man. His goal, the game plan here, is to get out of quick chameleon and see if he can get in and do a lot of economic damage in the little window of opportunity he's going to have before Classic Metal's chameleon is finished. That means he's got to move out right here, right now, and the chameleon is on its way. Classic Metal should know that it is indeed a chameleon, because he has not seen any tier 2 right there, and there would obviously be at least one. Chameleon's the only unit that can stealth, but this map is relatively sized here, and I don't want to say it's a large map, because I've seen bigger, but you know, by the time Delthius's chameleon got over here, Classic Metal's chameleons are up and running. And Classic Metal is just in a better spot now. Look at this, he's got 2 additional now. Delthius is going to go up, but actually a wolf coming out for Delthius, and that might be a little too greedy here, as Classic Metal has a dominant turret or chameleon count here over his opponent. And we're about to see 4 chameleons versus 2. Now, Delthius does have defender's advantage. He does have a couple turrets here. And if he can hold off, we did see the power of chameleons buffed up by wolves previously. As long as Delthius can hold this attack, which he does fairly well, Classic Metal might have lost the chameleon there. It's kind of hard to tell. Maybe Army Value Graph will tell me. Yeah, no, he did not. So good pullback from Classic Metal. Not losing anything for that aggression. And Delthius actually deciding maybe this is too dicey to try to get a tier 3, and opts for getting more chameleons himself and throwing in a ferret, which I actually really like the 1 ferret here. You know, just in case your opponent goes for any kind of structures, you've got an answer for it. But, you know, now that I think about it, a lot of the stuff that hits up has been banned here, right? So balloons could be incredibly powerful. I believe the only unit that's legal in this best of 5 is going to be the Badger that can hit a balloon, right? Oh, and Delthius has got to feel contained at this point. But this ferret is a great answer here. You know, as long as his micro's good, he doesn't let the ferret get ambushed by the chameleons. He can break out of this eventually. Oh, but here we go. Classic Metal, a little bit of missed micro, I think, took his finger off the hold down button for a second. Revealed himself, but gonna take the big engagement, and Delthius held that phenomenally. Didn't lose a single chameleon there, and dropped one from his opponent. And now he's gonna put the pressure on, sieging his enemy's gristmill here, and he's gonna get it for sure. He loses a chameleon in the process, needs to be careful to keep the rest of these alive. There's no reason to commit to a big fight here for Delthius. He just did a ton of damage to his opponent. The Classic Metal's got the owl on the way, and 1 owl, you know, not the biggest deal in the world, but when you get up to 2 owls or even 3 owls, man, that's gonna be absolutely insane. Not to mention the fact that he's got the balloons coming up, but those balloons aren't really gonna do much for Classic Metal besides prevent Delthius from attacking Classic Metal's main, right? And I think he realized that, sells off the balloons after that kind of moment passed where he felt under pressure from a big attack. And Delthius taking an engagement much better than Classic Metal here. Classic Metal's commander was a little out of position, so not all his chameleons were there at the very beginning of that, but somehow it didn't matter. And Classic Metal's chameleons run over the chameleons from Delthius hard here. And Classic Metal thinks he's got enough momentum to come in here and knock out this base from Delthius, and sure enough he does. So many chameleons in this match. It is absolutely insane, and I think that's gonna be it for Delthius here. Let's take a look. Yeah, Delthius holding on. I mean, it is the grand finals here, so I can understand, you know, trying to be tough and trying to stick it out. But the game definitely seems over from here, and we should be approaching match number 2 here shortly. Classic Metal taking a 1-0 lead in this best of 5 finals. Toads are to kill Mills. They're kind of bad against NGs since so many die before they can connect. Yeah, I could see that. But even still, I mean, killing a mill with Toads doesn't make a lot of sense. Seems pretty ineffective. I mean, there is a situation in RTS games, though, where it's not about being cost effective. It's about making the play. You know, if I can knock out that gristmill, yeah, I've got to lose a lot of money in Toads to do it. If you compare maybe the 200 food I lost in Toads, you know, versus the 60 food of the gristmill, that doesn't add up right, but just the fact that you deny the gristmill, you deny the economy, you deny the map presence, might make up for that inefficient trade. Alright guys, if you are joining us, we are in the grand finals here. Classic Metal up 1 game. Lots of stuff banned. Basically everything from tier 1 banned, besides the Toads, and then the Snakes and Falcons are also banned. So it's just an easy way. This has actually been one of the easier bans for me to remember. Just because in my head, I'm just like, okay, tier 1's banned, and then Snakes, Falcons. Really trying to think about these last couple picks here. I can understand the barbed wire pick. It's not gonna get a lot of damage done, but it's gonna prevent your opponent's chameleons from sneaking around any which way they please. But Darius instead changing it up, gonna go for the Foxes game. Really just thinking about that last pick that he wants to make here. Actually, no, yeah, one more pick. Classic Metal's ready to go. Opting for the skunk here, it looks like. Maybe hoping that those chameleons get real bunched up and can deal some damage over time to them, perhaps. And here we go, guys. Spawning in the 2 o'clock, we've got Darius Hart. And in the 6, his opponent, up 1 match, Classic Metal. I like the Fox here. If Darius can manage to get out a quick Fox, you could get a lot done with it, but at the same time, it's going to be really difficult to get out a quick Fox. I mean, typically the build order to get out of fast tier 3s, you know, like 8 farms, 2 tier 1 Warrens, tier 3 Warren, 2 more tier 1 Warrens. You're pretty safe that way. But not going to be able to do something like that this time around, since obviously they don't have tier 1 Warrens to work with this game. The chameleons are a great counter to Fox, and so is Balloon. So it's going to be difficult for this Fox to really gain a lot of value this game, I feel like. If you are having trouble with Foxes on the ladder, guys, I would recommend Balloons, Chameleons, Turrets. They all work pretty well. Lizards are pretty good because they can at least sometimes catch up to the Fox, or Wolf can also be well. The speed buff that they give units, make it match or even go faster in some circumstances than a Fox does. So there are a couple answers out there, but Classic Metal opting to go for a bit of turret rushing this time around. Darius is aware that Classic did take this campfire, so interested to see how he responds, and doesn't actually have turrets this game, so instead kind of confused, I guess, and decides to throw down a little bit of barbed wire here. Yeah, no turret option is gonna be difficult for Darius in these kind of structure-driven situations, and but at the end of the day, Classic Metal's turret is nowhere near Darius's main base, so not gonna really get anything done with it. But Darius doesn't have a great way to stop Classic Metal's campfire here, so Classic Metal's economy is gonna be slightly ahead of Darius, and Classic Metal on the back end of this, as I was talking about how difficult it would be to rush out a tier 3 here, decides to go for it, man. And if Darius has a good opportunity here, if he can sniff it out to just kill Classic Metal, he really needs to go scout his opponent's base. If he just face checks, right, with a bunch of chameleons that keep making chameleons, man, Oh no, gonna go for the Fox. All right. Well, Classic Metal's Owl is gonna be out sooner, but the Fox is a pretty good unit against the Owl. But once Classic Metal recognizes the Fox from his opponent, it shouldn't be too difficult for him to throw up a couple balloons, make a nice zone, and try to position his chameleons in such a way to set up a trap on the map for the Fox. So overall, it's kind of weird. Like, on paper, I feel like, a well-microed Fox can take out an Owl. A couple good hits. But I feel like in this kind of crazy ban situation we're in, it's going to be better for Delthius here. It's going to be better for Classic Metal to have those Owls. And Delthius thinking about what he wants to do here. He's been very careful with his micro, kind of sniffed out what his opponent was up to, and managed to get out of there. Not really dealing any damage, but not taking much either, so. The only thing, I guess, if you really wanted to be super technical, you could say that's probably a little worse for Delthius because he did take a lot of damage on those chameleons, which are going to heal up slowly, so Classic Metal's probably got a bit of a window where his chameleons are at slightly higher HP, and Classic Metal might actually end up utilizing it because his Owl is on the board here, and it's weird because Fox does pretty well against Chameleon too, as long as it doesn't get ambushed upon, right? Like, imagine if the chameleons just started bumping into each other in a midfield engagement, the Fox is in the back, dealing a lot of damage to those chameleons. I feel like that's going to be better in a direct engage than the couple of mice that Classic Metal is going to have here. But the real story is that Owl number 2 is on the way. One Owl is manageable, but 2, 3 Owls, that's when things start getting crazy. And these mice are going to come in here and weaken up the chameleons from Delthius Heart and allow Classic Metal to take a nice engagement on the back end of it. But as long as you gotta be careful with this Fox, man. Really don't want to run into any traps your opponent's setting up, and using barbed wire smartly is a good way to try to prevent that. If chameleon can't just stay stealth through barbed wire, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody in chat's probably like, yeah, they can. But you know what? The fact that there aren't any tier 1 here actually makes getting those connections on the Owl a lot easier, right? Because the chameleons are all stealthed. So really the only thing to buffer sniper shots for Classic Metal is going to be the mice that the Owl is producing. And this is a great response to the Fox here, all these turrets. And unfortunately, Delthius opted for the skunk this game instead of the ferret. If he had a ferret here, he would be in really good shape. Classic Metal's commander goes down, but Classic Metal is nice and tight here with all these turrets, and there's not really a window or any edge that Delthius can get in and poke and prod with this Fox. But now the Wolf is out for Delthius too, and that's going to be a big deal. Buffed up chameleons are a thing indeed, and so is a buffed up Fox, but fighting under all this firepower from the turrets of Classic Metal, is that going to be enough to stabilize? We'll see. I have no idea what is happening anymore, guys. Look how fast that Fox is. I believe Classic Metal won that fight. Yeah, consulting the graphs, it's pretty clear actually now that I look at the unit supply, I guess you could say. Delthius lost all his chameleons there. And yeah, I feel bad for Delthius, man. I don't think the skunk was a good choice here. If he would have got the ferret instead, he would be in such a fantastic position this game. Wolf Fox Chameleon is great, but you don't have a whole lot to deal with structures. And I like this by Delthius slowly trying to get up a position here. I would like to note though, as long as Delthius can hold this, he's got Classic Metal contained, right? But Classic Metal coming out with a very strong attack, and Delthius doing a great job keeping his important units alive. Is gonna lose the gristmill. But as long as Delthius has the tenacity to stay in this game, he might be okay. Classic Metal lost everything there, and Classic Metal is gonna tap out, and Delthius takes the game. Now we have a series on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, this is the Fox by Glorious AFB. Yeah, I love this skin. It's really cool. We're off to a great start in this series, tied up 1-1. These players really having to think on their feet. If you are new to Tooth and Tail or new to tournaments, guys, this is the first time in Tooth and Tail history we've had bans in a tournament. Bans are not normal. One of the big things of Tooth and Tail is the deck selection is very private. You don't get to see what your opponent's doing. I'm on a little bit of a stream delay here to try to prevent, either Classic Metal of Darius tuning in and trying to see what their opponent's deck selection is. Yeah, adding the bans throws a real wrench in the gears here. 6 is a lot too. There's only 20 units total to choose from, so about a third of the units are knocked out, and a lot of the really critical units too. All those tier 1 units, which are kind of your core bread and butter units for your deck composition, but it looks like Darius had good results with the Fox Wolf combo and wants to keep that rolling. Meanwhile, Classic might be a little jealous of that Wolf from the last game of his opponent, decides to pick one up himself. And Darius still not opting for the Ferret, which is pretty interesting and allows him to get an extra structure out. And Classic Metal readies up. And we are going to knock this game out here. Game number 3, guys, of the grand finals. In the 5 o'clock, we've got Darius Hart. And his opponent in the 9, Classic Metal. Okay. So, Darius has got to feel happy about this map gen. I mean, come on. Look at that. Just take it in for a minute and be jealous of Darius in this game. I mean, he's got 4 expansions right there all around him. Relatively easy to defend. I mean, yeah, you can make the argument this one might be, because that high ground there that Classic Metal could maybe harass from. And Classic Metal's not completely out of this. He did get 1 expansion base, a nice little natural expansion, if you will, but he's going to have to muscle for the north of this map to really expand beyond that. So it's really on Classic Metal this game to put together a plan and execute. Meanwhile, Darius can say, hey, man, let's just go into the late game. And Classic Metal doing another structure rush here, and I don't think Darius is aware. He needs to find out right now, and I don't think he's going to. This sneaky play by Classic Metal might lead him to an easy victory here. I wonder if he's going to go for a balloon or a couple turrets. Let's see what his decision is. It's going to be a couple turrets, and still Darius is none the wiser, and he's not going to find out in time. And I wouldn't even be that surprised if immediately, right here, right now, he just taps out. Let's see how he's going to respond. Well, 1 pig goes down, the second pig goes down, and poor Darius, man, was none the wiser of this rush. And not a bad response. Well, Darius was thinking, yeah, he's like, you know what, maybe I'll just set up shop elsewhere, but Darius is going to try to punish Classic Metal for being so greedy here, and now especially that he sees that tier 3 unit, man. He's going to come in and attack Darius's base when he has no units, and Classic Metal is aware of this and wants to build a couple turrets. And great crisis management here from Classic Metal. And Darius knows it's a suicide mission to try to go in there and backs out. This is a decent response from Darius, though, just really trying to macro up. And, now he should be able to get in there and knock those 2 turrets down. I think 2 chameleons, as long as they target fired the same turret at the same time, they should be okay to take those out. And Darius really needs to get that done before Classic Metal reinforces that position even further. And Classic just being a little mean here, just being a little annoying, I guess I should say, and trying to, feign a little more aggression. I love this play from Darius, though. Really trying to macro up. If he can hang on. He's had this campfire for a little while now. He's got basically a fully saturated second base. And granted, he is missing... Oh, the chameleon's here. Let's see how this turns out. 1-for-1 trade. Darius backs out for now. Darius getting that box, though. And so far, Classic Metal isn't really wrapped up nice and tight with a lot of defense. And even if he does, you know, Darius could play the waiting game and let Classic Metal just drain out. Really what Darius needs to do is prevent Classic Metal from taking this northern expansion. As long as he can do that, he's going to have a phenomenal economy the later this game goes on. But Delthius, man, he really needs to come over here and clean this up. Okay, and I was worried about Classic Metal reinforcing this position, but instead takes his money and runs and gets out of there. Just going to lose the 60 food on the gristmill, but that's fine. He did plenty of damage with it. And let's see what happens, man. Darius is actually being so greedy this game and trying to back that greed up with some good defensive structures here. Now, Classic Metal doesn't have any units that can hit these balloons at all. So these balloons are basically immortal. I mean, I say that as if it's something unique to Classic Metal here. Darius Hart also has no answer to balloons, right? So nice little pickup on this campfire. Hey, why not? Good job from Classic Metal, you know, constantly scouting the map and making sure your opponent's not gaining any free edges where he can. And the Fox is going to be done here soon, and he's going to have to worry about a chameleon trap. And let's see. Classic Metal wants to come in here and bust down this Wolf Warren before it's able to finish. Let's see if he's able to get a good hold, it looks like, for Darius, but it's not going to be enough. And the Wolf Warren goes down. Got to be careful, cannot lose this Fox. The Fox gets surrounded, gets out of there just in time, though. The Warren goes down, but the Fox is still alive. Darius Hart cannot afford to lose this gristmill, and the chameleons are going to have enough DPS to do just that. And let's see how well Darius can respond here. And Classic Metal just has so many chameleons left over still. And Darius has to be so careful with this Fox. Barely missing the chameleon trap there is Darius Hart. Wants to come in here and get something done, but he's going to get himself cornered if he's not careful. Gets out of there just in time. Manages to take out a farm and get out of there with this Fox still alive. Actually opts to build another Fox Warren here. And yeah, go ahead and just knock out that gristmill. Right when Classic Metal comes back to maybe start doing something with it. Yeah, puts a balloon down, but then sees, okay, this gristmill's over, and backs out of there. You know, if Classic Metal would have got that balloon up anyways, if these chameleons didn't reposition to attack that actually probably would have been a good play, because then Darius could never take that base, because he had nothing that could shoot down a balloon. These chameleon trap games, man. And Classic Metal is doing what he can, but his economy is not the best in the world. Actually, I guess with the campfires, oh no, gotta be careful with the Fox. Almost goes down to the chameleons of his opponent. And Classic Metal might have enough. 8 chameleons is a lot to just DPS this gristmill down very quickly. Where are the chameleons here for Darius Hart? They're not in position. Darius is now starving. Yeah, they're off trying to poke and prod at the campfires of his opponent, but both players here really don't have a whole lot left. I mean, Classic Metal's not starving, but he's only on one farm. And Darius has really got to keep this Fox alive. Cannot afford to let this Fox die. He's got a nice safe gristmill in the back he can take. He's starving 35 seconds. I think he'll be just fine. Get that gristmill up and get the farm up in time. Fox number 2 on the way here, out of that extra Fox Warren he built. If you are confused about that, guys, the first Fox Warren died. So after he built the second Fox Warren, it's going to allow him to get one more supply of Fox. But Classic Metal coming in here denies that, and oh my god, this could be the killing blow. Classic Metal instead decides to back off. I don't think he realized how far ahead he is in army value, though. I mean, 7 chameleons, the 2 chameleons and a Fox, he could have easily DPS this gristmill down, and Darius would have been in a very bad position from there. And this is what I was talking about, man. Darius really can't afford to let Classic Metal just take this northern spot. And so far, he's managed to take it fairly well. But the Fox is not the best unit in the world against a bunch of mice. here he goes. Classic Metal gonna try again to come in for a big engagement. Darius needs to retreat back to his balloons. And this owl could go down fairly quickly if he's not careful. These balloons are gonna get a ton of value, but they need to do the damage fast enough. And wow, Darius Hart takes a fantastic engage there. Classic Metal overextending, and if Delthius Hart can kill this owl, and he does, that puts Darius in such a great spot here. All game long, such fantastic micro with this fox, man. And what does Classic Metal really have at this point? Yeah, he downsizes on his Warrens, which is very important, and he really wants to put all his eggs into the owl basket. Oh no. Okay, what is he up to, man? Sells all of his stuff. Maybe he's just gonna reset up shop here in the north, is the idea. Oh, a bunch of balloons. Makes sense to me. If Darius can identify this, he's only got 1 chameleon though, so not a whole lot he can do about that, but oh man, these balloons though, they're gonna turn this game into like a 50-minute game, dude, because now it's like a stalemate now, because Darius can't do anything about those balloons. But that also only gives Classic Metal 1 base, right? So all Darius has to do is take the rest of the map, and he'll win over time, which is what I'd love to see him do at this point, actually opting to sell off his last couple chameleons here in lieu of additional resources. And we're a little bit reset here. This great wall of balloons that Classic Metal has is going to keep him nice and safe. You know, don't even think about trying to poke in with your fox anymore. It will die immediately. So, we're in a crazy spot here. I'm not going to lie, guys. Pack in. Kind of wish I didn't have to go to the bathroom, but it's okay. I'll hold it like a man. But, yeah, this is going to last forever, really. Unless Classic Metal comes in and does some, you know, get some chameleons up at a reasonable time and can seal the deal. Darius is not going to have an option to prevent this from Classic Metal. So I think what Darius really needs to focus on here is staying aware of the map and saying, you know what, fine, you're going to get this 12 o'clock base, but that's it. You're not going to get anything else ever again. And I'm going to wait it out, however long it takes, how many starvation farms you decide to go for, and eventually I will win this game. It's really, what else can you do at this point? And smart decision by Darius here, you know, to just go straight up to 8 farms. There's really not a lot you can do. And Classic Metal's starting to slim down a little on these balloons, kind of reposition a few, you know, make sure his economy's not too far behind, but he's only leaving himself a couple starvation farms, so maybe we're not going to be here for an hour, so that's really good. But, you know, as these balloons slim down, you know, Darius could get a critical mass of chameleons, especially buffed up by a wolf, and just ignore. I mean, we saw earlier how fast 8 or 10 chameleons can just knock down a gristmill, right? So Darius could just YOLO in here once he gets that army built up and knock Classic Metal out anyways. And okay, Classic Metal leaving no starvation farms, so he is not in this for the long haul. He just wants to keep these balloons around to be safe, and then probably eventually sell off most of them in lieu of army. So let's see where the game progresses from here. I like Darius's decision to keep ecoing up, and that's really it. Sorry about that, guys. Somebody tried to call me. I had to deal with that real quick. But all right, so yeah, this is what I'd like to see from Classic Metal, and I think that over time these balloon counts are gonna get a little lower. Like maybe keep like 3 of them, but this is the big thing that Classic Metal needs, and Darius needs to be on top of this. As long as Classic Metal cannot take this base, it's a pretty clear win for Darius, but Darius needs to be very on top of not letting Classic Metal set up shop anywhere else. And so far, he hasn't re-scouted it, man, so this is looking good for Classic Metal here. Yeah, and as you can see, this balloon count is just slowly being reduced, and more chameleons are starting to put in. Okay, Darius gets the scout off that he needed, but it might be too late. Balloons are already going down here. Oh, the wolf buff is gonna help these chameleons haul ass over. Are they gonna get there in time to deny the balloons? It looks like they are very clutch. And Darius Hart should be able to deny this expansion from going up, which is exactly what he needs to keep Classic Metal pinned in this game. Man, that was very, very close. If Darius was just a few seconds later on that scout, Classic Metal would have got those balloons up, and as we mentioned before, no unit here can hurt balloons. And yeah, Darius needs to be really on top of his scouting though, because right as he left, Classic Metal comes back again, and I think this time around, Classic Metal is going to be able to get these balloons established, which is going to secure this base for him and put him back into this game. Yeah, and Darius is not going to be happy when he comes back over here and sees the balloons are already up. Now, maybe if he had like 8 chameleons, you know, only a few balloons over there. Could maybe break through. All right, so I'm really interested to see where this game goes. I always forget about the wolf being so annoying for casters. But Darius is committing hard to these wolves, man. Going up to wolf number 2. And he's got a good economy. 24 farms. The Classic Metal is also recovering. But I think the big difference here is that Classic Metal has been the more defensive player. So he's got a lot of army value wrapped up into these balloons here. Meanwhile, Darius is getting a more solid boots on the ground approach. And once these 12 chameleons are out, man, I really think if the wolf kind of buffs him up and then stays back, but oh man, fantastic play from Classic Metal here. Darius is unaware of these balloons and it's gonna be too late. These balloons are not gonna ever be able to be dealt with. So this just completely denies this base from ever being taken for Darius, and even worse, puts Classic Metal in a fantastic spot to try to take it himself. If I was Darius, I'd rush in my chameleons right now and just, oh, that's a good idea too. You know, throw a couple balloons up, maybe on the side as well. This game is getting absolutely crazy, guys. I don't even know what to say anymore, to be honest. You know, these balloons make sense. Maybe even a couple balloons over here and just prevent, like, okay, cool, you got that gristmill, but you're never gonna mine for them. Yeah, these chameleons are more than enough. Gotta be careful of that fox. The miss micro on the fox. It got deleted in an instant there. But I don't think Darius really cares anymore. I mean, the fox isn't doing anything for him anyways. What he needs is a critical mass of chameleons here, and he's way in the lead on getting there. And Classic Metal, but you know what? If Darius doesn't knock Classic Metal out soon, he might actually win this game. Just from starvation. Now, this is going to be enough chameleons to come in here, knock this base out, get the hell out of Dodge. Need to be very careful to keep these wolves alive, though. Beautiful. Gets him out in one piece. And he should be able to do the same thing to Classic Metal's last remaining base. Yeah, just now taking that campfire is going to allow Darius to stay in this game for 5 minutes longer. Yeah, he's just gotta go for it, man. All right, keep your wolves back, though. You don't need the wolves here. Don't let your wolves die, Darius, and you'll be okay. Here he goes, going for it. Really needed to not leave the wolves in there, though. Knocks it out. One wolf goes down. Another wolf goes down, too. Yeah, a little bit of miss micro there from Darius, but this is an exhausting game. 18 minutes long. Now those wolves are probably never going to get back up. He could sell like one wolf warren, you know. It looks like he actually had enough money. No, he does have enough money indeed to get these wolves back out. So beautiful there. I mean, it does suck losing those wolves. You didn't have to. That wolf buff isn't like an area thing. You can buff it's a timer. So those chameleons would have been buffed up anyways without the wolf running in with it. And I think Delthius is ready to win the game right here, right now. All he's got to do is come in and take out this last gristmill, but that is easier said than done. I mean, that's a lot of damn balloons. The classic metal, the tenacity on this guy. If you know, Delthius really needed to reclaim that gristmill as he killed it from his opponent to prevent this from happening. You know, now classic metal is just gonna play run around with Delthius all game long, as long as these gristmills are still available for him. Yet all Delthius needs to do is get his commander in there and click on this gristmill so he claims it for himself. He's gonna go for it again. Let's see if he's gonna have it this time. Really needs to just control the chameleons here. Keep the wolves in the back. Keep them safe, because they will just get annihilated by these balloons. Not even worried about it is Delthius. He wants to win right here, right now. But man, bleeding off these wolves, I don't mean to keep picking on him, but this is the grand finals, so I guess I'm allowed to in this situation. You know, he needs to be just controlling the chameleons and keeping the wolves back. He lost 3 wolves when he really didn't need to, and that is a lot of money, especially in this scrappy kind of situation. There he goes, gets the gristmill, but Classic Metal's got a couple chameleons, so. Man, this is absolutely crazy. He needs to kill this and then take it. But another wolf dropping here. A little bit of sloppy micro from Delthius. What a crazy match. Classic Metal is now starving. He's gonna be able to just take this gristmill over and over again, but Delthius really needs to get back over to the main and knock out this gristmill. That way, when he does finally get out, you know, kill these gristmills from Classic Metal over and over again, he actually knocks him out of the game. Losing these chameleons for Classic Metal would be a huge deal here, and 2 of them go down. Really can't be affording to lose anything at this point. All right, Delthius, go claim these gristmills, bro. That's gonna be it. Classic Metal throws in the towel after about a 20-minute game. Delthius Hart takes the match. All right, guys, I know it's super unprofessional. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna leave it here in case they go ahead into the next match. I'll be back in just a second. Alright, everybody, I am back. What a crazy game, man. These players have got to be showing some signs of fatigue at this point. We've been rocking and rolling with this tournament for about 3.5 hours. Delthius and Classic have played a lot of games here. That was a 20-minute crazy chess match type game where it's like, hey, there's balloons and there's nothing that can be done about it. And interesting deck choices here. I was kind of assuming I'd see somebody pick up the Badger to deal with balloons, but I guess in that situation with no healing, you know, the Badger's only gonna die too to the balloon, right? Like, it's funny because the balloon's real answer is mass tier 1, you know? Don't let it take advantage of the high damage it does over a low period of time by hitting cheap, inexpensive units. You know, something like 6 lizards or a few squirrels could run up and kill a balloon pretty quickly, right? But balloon's also one of those units that kind of makes the game really weird when you get up to that critical mass of them. Like, once you got a line of like 10 balloons, I mean, I see Zeno in the chat and a couple other guys. Like, I don't think there's really anything you can do about 10 balloons. But here we go, guys. On match point here, looking to seal the deal and win the tournament, is Darius Hart. And his opponent, Classic Metal in the 8 o'clock, really needs to win this match or he is out. And the tournament is over, so... I always like to see... I mean, I'm rooting for Classic Metal too, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not biased, but when we don't have a bracket reset, it is kind of cool to see the guy who didn't lose a match, which is Darius Hart in this situation, win it, you know? Because it'd be a little bit of salt if Classic Metal won this and Darius is like, well, I didn't get a bracket reset, so that's kind of lame. But we'll see. Everybody knew about that coming into it, so I don't assume that should be an issue. But these guys opted for a lot of defense this time around, and Darius again looking for that wolf chameleon play that worked so well for him last game, and Classic Metal kind of jumping on that ship, man, saying, damn, that is pretty good, so I think I'll get some Wolf Chameleon of my own going and round it out with that Owl, which he's actually used quite a bit today, and fairly effectively too. Oh yeah, boar would be a good answer to the balloon too, Pillow. I didn't even think about that. You stack up a couple boars and make them explode. That's really how you take out a bunch of clumped up balloons. I actually saw a replay of, I believe it was Pile versus Chip, where it was a crazy game where Pile totally contained Chip and built like 20 balloons and 20, you know, barbed wire and like 6 drum fires back when drum fire is really strong at the 120 food, and Chip just got like 5 or 6 boars and just blew up everything. It was amazing. Darius, man, balls of steel here, going straight for that chameleon, or for Fox rather. And it's probably going to work out since he's got the balloon to back it up. I feel like, you know, Classic Metal doesn't have an answer to the balloon. Classic Metal isn't even aware of this. And actually, this is fantastic mind games from Darius, taking this 6 o'clock base. That's going to throw Classic Metal off so well. That was such a good red herring of the actual intentions of Darius Hart in this game, right? I mean, Classic was thinking, okay, he wants to go for a structure rush. Let me check. The gristmills around my base, let me make sure that's all good to go. He knows it was a feign now, but that bought Darius time. Time where Classic Metal isn't scouting his base, time where Classic Metal doesn't know what's going on. And what's going on is a Fox. Now, the Fox does have an attack path as it is. If Darius is scouted very well, he should be, which he has, he should be aware. He can run the Fox in like so, and get to those nice juicy pigs without running into any balloons, so. And I gotta think Darius is aware of that. But he needs to get some work done, because Classic Metal is starting to muscle for a lot of position on this map. In fact, now that I'm looking at it, it is going to be very difficult for Darius to take a single expansion this game. I mean, this map RNG is very favored towards Classic Metal, but Darius is not looking to make expansions here, ladies and gentlemen. He is looking to seal the deal and end this game. Already taking out several pigs. Needs to be careful not to die to these chameleons, but he's got chameleons himself. So a little bit of micro, and Classic Metal really can't afford to re-stealth too often because his Warren is right there. And Darius, as long as he keeps these chameleons alive, needs to re-micro those through the shadow. Actually calculates it out. He had just enough. A third chameleon gets here. Beautiful play from Darius, and Classic Metal's got to feel bad about that, man. He just didn't really think about the runaround that Darius could give him there, and it was very effective. And Darius has got to know the rest of Classic Metal's operations over here in the corner. And Darius has balloons, so... And okay, Classic could put a balloon right there, but that's about it for that high ground. Yeah, Darius kind of learning his lesson from last game and just being like, you know what, I am going to take every single gristmill on this map so you can't whack-a-mole me again and drag the game out. Frog, what are you saying? How dare you? You're like 4 hours late. You're the worst, man. No, I'm just messing with you. What happened though? I messaged you. I was gonna cast your game very first. You were gonna be the first one, Frog, and then you just didn't show up because you hate me and you hate Josh, apparently. Let's see, Darius. Obviously, you guys know I'm messing around, right? But anyways, Darius trying to get this drum fire up, which good turret placement out of classic metal prevents it at just the last second, but Delthius is still in phenomenal shape, man. I wouldn't be shy at all in his position. He's got to do a very good job of containing classic metal here. You cannot let classic metal get anywhere else on this map. It doesn't matter how tightly knit classic metal puts himself in this position. As long as that's all he gets, Darius can win this game by attrition over time. Get up to that army composition we saw earlier of just a ton of chameleons, a wolf or two, and eventually run in and take that out. But Darius has to be very on top of classic metal's commander. I would be following Hopper around everywhere if I was Darius in this position, because classic metal is going to look to be sneaky, and look at this, classic metal sneaks away and gets that gristmill, man. That's exactly what he needs, you know. And if Darius doesn't shut that down, that's going to be pretty brutal. But this drum fire, oh man, this one building right here should be in range of this gristmill. And that balloon granting it vision, clever use of defensive structures here. That's going to be all she wrote for this base of classic metal. Darius Hart might be counting his chickens before they hatch a little bit here. I thought he probably thinks he's about to win. He wins anyways. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Darius Hart taking the tournament. What a fun day. Let's take another look at these brackets here while we're wrapping up the stream. So yeah, Darius played phenomenally. You know, he only dropped a couple maps all tournament long, and you know, classic metal rose the ranks of the losers bracket, came back and put up a good fight. But just the weird bans and the weird situation we were brought into, you know, Darius dealt with it better and ended up taking the tournament off that. So that is it, guys. The tournament is over. Big shout out to Josh on Discord for putting it together. Big shout out to all the players who showed up today. We had Furmar, Surrender, Dijarana, Scarecrow, Asva, Darius Hart, obviously. Did I miss anybody? And Classic Metal, of course. So you guys are all fantastic. I had a blast casting it. I hope everybody enjoyed watching it. And that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. We are signing off on TnTTV. And while I've got everybody here, I do want to shout out Sequoia's League. He casted a lot of games last night on his channel. So check out that. A lot of great replays from that as well. And maybe I'm a terrible person, but I don't think there's any other events coming up right now. So yeah, the only event that's still going on at the moment is the TnT League from Best Sequoia. And don't forget, guys, if you are new to the channel, I do a replay casting show every Tuesday, Thursday night, 8 p.m. EST. So submit me your replays at ToothAndTailTV@gmail.com if you would like to be featured on the show. There's plenty of information underneath my Twitch channel. I'm trying to work real hard on my YouTube channel, guys, so if you guys could head over there and throw me a subscribe, man, it would help encourage me to get off my ass about it. But that's going to be it, guys. I had a great time casting it. Big shout out to AV Ultima and Josh for helping host and organize the whole thing, and all the players and all the viewers, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I think that's it for real, guys. You're all a bunch of beautiful nerds, and we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.